but I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody's checking it out.
I don't know whether rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 6, 3, 2, 1, 9, 7.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Well, good evening, and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're taking your calls as we continue to get weird. Now, recently we were talking about Odysseus. We were talking about some ancient mythology. And it seems like the old ideas simply won't leave us alone. Now, one that came up recently, of course, was the story of Daedalus and Icarus. We talked about the idea of flying too close to the sun. It will melt the wax on the wings, and you will fall into the sea to your doom. Now, the funny part about that, I mean, it's not funny, it's actually tragic, but it is mythology, so we can assume no lives were lost in the telling of tales. But wildly, it seems as if these old themes just continue to return, just continue to look us in the face and even challenge us to really take these old ideas and really wonder why we're not asking a lot of the right questions, even in the modern time. It's incredibly weird what's going on right now. And specifically, we'll start with this. This is the weird one. And I'm calling this tonight the Doppelganger effect, manufacturing your own Omen. Now, let that sit with you for a sec, because you may have heard the news here, and all these links will be in the description. So if you want to check this out, I do encourage you to go read this stuff in full. It is a little bit unsettling is a good word. Some might say terrifying. I'll just read the headline. This is from the ibtimes.co.uk. Shout out our friends in the UK. Biohacker Bryan Johnson claims he cloned himself as a newborn to grow organs after incurable disease diagnosis. All right. I mean, haven't we seen this movie before? I'm laughing. It's not funny, really. Okay. Now, it's not like it sounds. Now, if you follow his tweets and all the rest of the stuff he said, I'll read a little bit from the thing here. But it's not, I mean, he's not like a baby Bryan Johnson running around. Okay. It's not that. He's leaning into it for attention. To his new condition. I'll just read you the blurb. Bryan Johnson has claimed he created a newborn version of himself in a petri dish, saying the experiment could one day help him grow replacement organs after his autoimmune gastritis diagnosis. While scientists say such technology is still years away from routine medical use, Johnson believes it could eventually allow him to rebuild his body using his own cells. Yeah. A Ship of Theseus, anybody? The 48-year-old biohacker posted the startling claim on X on July 22nd. That would be yesterday, telling followers, "I just cloned myself as a newborn." Johnson, who has built a global following through his extreme anti-aging project Blueprint, also said the so-called baby Bryan currently exists in a petri dish. There you go. Here's the actual post itself, which is a little creepy. I saw it and was like, I'll just skip that because it's going to give me nightmares. But I'll read it. This is his post on X. "I just cloned myself as a newborn. With this clone, I can," here's where it gets more than weird and creepy. "With this clone, I can become my own blood boy, test therapies on the clone, grow organs for transplantation, develop new treatments, inject young cells. This baby Bryan lives in a petri dish for now." And it continues. It's long. This may be scary to some, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Link will be in the description if you want to read his post in full. It is unsettling. Like I said, disturbing. And here's the thing, right? So not just the weird sort of basis of living forever. Like this is something that's been, the old, what is it? What's it called? It'll come to me in a second. We've been chasing this forever. It's literally this immortal space of the mind where we think we can really conquer the natural world and turn ourselves into gods, demigods of such, okay? For, again, lack of a better name there, but that's really what we would become with a sort of a deathless human being. I mean, and look, it's tantalizing to think in terms of maybe, just maybe, if you can get there without any weird strife or things like this, like really ethical dilemmas and, all the things that kind of come along with this. I mean, hey, if you gave me 500 years, I'd be thrilled. Like, I could become a master musician. I could become a painter. I could, write several books and put real human thought into them and, just do all the things that I couldn't do that I don't have time for now. Okay. Which is wild. But here's the thing, right? There's always the rub. And in this case, the rub is the baby in the petri dish. Okay, this is a living entity. This is somebody. Well, is it? Not yet. But eventually it will be somebody that will be used as a sort of a way to farm body parts or grow them in a lab. Or, I mean, look, it's not a clone. We're talking sort of a homunculus or a golem or a doppelganger, which we'll get to momentarily. But anyway, so now look, this is super weird. And clearly he's marketing this and he's kind of leaning into it for the attention and the clout. I mean, this guy gets tons and tons and tons of views, but it's weird. Like mentioning now I can be my own blood boy. Bro, gross. Like come on, man. That's, I mean, super gross. Anyway, so this is where we start tonight. And there's a lot of questions that come into this, not just the weird sci-fi angles like the island. We'll get to that. There's also these old ideas like that homunculus, like the golem, like creating some version of yourself with some level of your own genetics or DNA, and then being able to grow into something that you control. And as we know, things are difficult to control. Life is difficult to control, as said very smartly in Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. All right. The chaos theory, right? You never stop to ask whether you should. Yeah. Anyway, so how does this make you feel? Like right off the bat, like for me, this is weird, wild. And it is one of those things where, and I heard on the radio today that this is actually what inspired this. I was listening to Eric Erickson on the radio, just in passing. I don't really listen to this guy a lot. I know he's a politician and he's a right winger. And, I don't agree with all his politics and all this stuff. You got all the disclaimers apply. No truth to be found here. I just caught this passing idea. But the way he brought it up and the way he described it was that this was an affront to God, that this was actually challenging the natural order that's been in place forever. And not only that, sort of crossing boundaries in that ethical sense, not just in terms of modern bioethics, but in terms of actual specific theology. And listening to the guy, I didn't have an argument against. I was like, yeah, bro. Like this is kind of what that sounds like. It's wild. Anyway, that's not an endorsement of that guy. Like I said, a broken clock is right twice a day, as they say. But anyway, how does this make you feel? This is really weird. And not only that, this is one of those things that is coming. Okay, this acceleration that I'm always talking about, it's coming. And so how do we deal with this when it arrives on our shores, as they say? Because I don't know. Will we have a revolution that screams against and says, no way, not here, not now? Or is everybody going to be like, well, let's see if we can live to be 500? No matter how many monsters we have to create. It's weird. It's weird. So we'll get to the doppelganger effect. I'll tell you what that's all about in just a moment. We are taking your calls tonight if you want to be part of the conversation. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Of course, it is a chat client. It's a voice client. It's completely free. It's where we stream the show and take some calls. And it's just, if you want to just hang out and chat with us in the chat room or whatever, you can do that too. So please do that. Troubledminds.org is where you'll find all those things. Be right back. More Troubled Minds in just a moment. Going to take a quick break and get a word from our sponsor in this case. And I think this is becoming more and more pertinent in 2026. And as we accelerate and move forward, the idea of the Stoic mindset. Be right back. More Troubled Minds in just one moment. Catch you on the other side of the break. Feeling stressed? Overwhelmed? In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get swept away by our emotions. Take a breath and find your inner strength with the Stoic Minute.
You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength.
The ancient Stoic philosophers understood that we can't control everything in life, but we can control how we react.
The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts.
Focus on what you can influence. Cultivate a positive mindset and let go of what you can't change. Find your inner strength. Live each day with courage, wisdom, justice, and moderation. Embrace the Stoic virtues and find peace within. The Stoic Minute, brought to you by Jack in Oregon. And welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let us continue, shall we? Okay, so now this is important because this is the scientific part of this where it is not simply a clone in a petri dish, okay? That was the marketing aspect of the biohacker Bryan Johnson. Weird dude, I gotta say. I mean, dude's weird. But he's rich. And when you're rich, you can do all manner of horrible things. Okay, anyway, here we go. So check this out. So this is the actual science of it. And this is in the write-up. I encourage you to read this stuff in full if you're interested, or the articles. They're all linked down below. But check it out. I'm going to just give you the quick science on this so you can recognize that it's not what it sounds like yet. So what happened in the lab is narrower than what was his announcement. Mature cells were treated with a set of proteins called Yamanaka factors, named for Shinya Yamanaka, who won a Nobel Prize for discovering that 4 transcription factors could reset an adult cell back toward an embryonic state. The technique is 2 decades old. It is real, and it is used in serious research, and a small trial published last year showed cells derived this way restoring dopamine function in Parkinson's patients without provoking tumors. Very good, right? This is good stuff if it's used properly. But as usual, using things improperly is that affront to God, as I suggested, or that sort of dystopian future where when you start to look at these things, and look, I talk about the acceleration all the time, and I'm excited to maybe be living in the time of the singularity, whatever that means to you. But simply, there are some things that we need to be very careful about. And I think this is one of those things. And anyway, so the announcement of the world clone applied to a dish of reprogrammed cells with no organs, no nervous system, no body, nothing that resembles a newborn except the name given to it. Baby Bryan, as he called it. Okay, so how does this make you feel? One, do you think we're coming close to the point where in the next 5 to 10 years, this type of stuff will be ubiquitous and everybody will be doing it? You'll be ordering kits on Amazon and injecting yourself with Lord knows what. And if that doesn't sound terrifying, I don't know what does. But I don't know. How does it make you feel? The idea of, and the other part that I just can't shake is this dude's rich, right? I'm not an eat the rich type of guy. I'm not a, he has more money than me. So, string him up. No, I've never been that guy. I'm never going to be that guy. Good on you. Go get it. Whether you were lucky or good or both. Congratulations. But now he's doing like stuff that you might even call demonic. All right. With this sort of Paracelsus, the alchemy of old, creating his own homunculus or golem. But anyway, I digress. But the thing that really sticks in my gears with this is that when we talk about the acceleration and the idea of the singularity itself, meaning the moment which once we pass it, we will no longer recognize everything that came before it, is that it's still an idea of the haves and the have-nots. Like, is it going to accelerate and become ubiquitous so everybody can use this? Not saying everybody should. I'm just saying that the haves and the have-nots seem to persist beyond the singularity itself. Or do they? I don't know. Not to get political, not to get silly about it, not to eat the rich, but interesting that this dude's like, it's like freezing wealthy young ladies, freezing their eggs for future babies when they get older and the eggs are no longer suitable. It is an advantage, but it's only available to the wealthy. You see? Regardless of how you feel about that, it's just an example, a modern example of the have and have-nots. Anyway, 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Love to hear your thoughts on all of this. How do you feel about immortality? And how many hoops would you jump through to attain such a state? Let's go to Daryl in New York. Thanks for being patient, my friend. You are on Troubled Minds. Just hit the little button, pop on in here, and more money than brains. What's up, Ross? Daryl in New York.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, loud and clear. You are coming through fantastic. Welcome. I hope you're well. And what's on your mind? Go right ahead.
Oh, it's very interesting. I read the articles that you posted. They were so interesting. I just have a couple of things to say about this. Let me just get my notes. Where is my new message? Here we go. First of all, I think that he put this out recently. Don't you really believe this is already being done? Like that, like certain people already have their own clones doing their dirty work, doing whatever, just having bring up their schedules. If they have the right amount of money, I think you can have a clone. Who's going to have the clones, really? People with the dough. I mean, who's going to be able to afford it? And how do you regulate something like this?
Yeah.
What do you do with your clone when you're finished with it? They're going to have some serious talk about ethics, about rights. Do you especially do you share a consciousness with your clone, or is it two separate consciousnesses?
That is fascinating. That turns this into sort of a metaphysical conversation. And I hadn't even considered that yet, but I'm glad you brought it up because it was bound to come up as part of this. I don't know, right? Because our DNA is sort of our source code, as we've talked about this in the past. And if you're creating clones of such, then maybe there is sort of an antenna to that conscious state that is fine-tuned for us. I don't know. Does that mean it's shared at that point? I mean, it's the twins and the triplets thing, but not really because it's an exact clone of you. I don't know. It's a hell of a question.
Right. And then how aware are they that they're not the original, or are they told they're not even told they're not the original, or what, there's a lot of questions that could be answered perhaps already about consciousness if this is going down,
Yeah.
The same.
That's a good point. It's a good point. And I don't know. I mean, look, I'm getting older. You're getting older. We're all getting older. And I don't mean that to be ridiculous. It's just a fact of life. It's just what every year the calendar turns and we get a year older. Is this something that would tempt you at all? Or is it just so icky to bring it up where you're like, oh, double hell no? What's your thought on that?
I think this guy's pretty smart. And, I think he's like, hell yeah, I want a clone. Of course I want a clone. When do I get one? Sign me up, I want some young body parts. I love a different body. Shit. I'm just thinking the potential is amazing. I could have my old eyesight back, my memory back, maybe. Yeah, it's endless. The possibilities are incredible. I'm living forever and all of those things. I think it's all about this. And who knows, if this is not the first time around with this kind of technology, maybe it's been done before we, screwed it up the first time. Who knows, Does AI have all this information? I'm just thinking the more we know, the less we know. But things are being discovered every day that are making me scratch my head anyway. So whatever, I think it's all possible. If they were making chimeras and, creating lots of test tube things, including us, who knows, even our creation could have been just off of one cell, one very, narcissistic cell, for example, maybe,
Indeed, I follow you. Yeah, I mean, like it is tantalizing, but once again, the ethics really kind of are the elephant in the room when you talk about this, because like you described, how would you know you're not the real me? There's a Michael Strange clone out there. Maybe they're like, hey, I want to do the show tonight, Mike. And I'm like, nah, you're missing a liver. And thank you for the new elbow. It's fantastic. But till you grow a new one, you won't be able to run the rig and the mic and everything. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just being silly, like as part of this, but you get what I'm saying. Like when we're talking about a living entity, a live human in any capacity, suddenly this really takes a very dark Frankenstein-like turn.
No kidding. And talk about resentment. It's like, I wanted to do the show tonight, but I'm missing, my eyes are gone. Well, what did you do with my eyes? Hey, dude, wait a second. I had a date. I had all kinds of plans. God, yeah. I mean, big time. There's big questions of ethics and, the body parts and whatever, So there's got to be, maybe you've really got to be very careful how you clone yourself. You just don't want to clone your consciousness. I don't know. That's really a good question. And if it's being done already, they have the answers to these questions. And what are the answers? It would be very interesting. Be a fly on that wall, Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And what kind of stuff they're kind of working on. And we've long said this, that if any of this is remotely possible, they're doing this in some secret lab somewhere, like some underground bunker where, sort of the ethics wink are off the table and they're just, mad scientists creating stuff, in China somewhere or something, or maybe out in the maritime laws of just on a huge ship or something where you can't really bother them. But I mean, you got to know there's stuff like this happening out there somewhere, because, hey, people are just, people are something else, I'll say.
I would imagine so. If with enough money, you could do anything, and they're not worried about any consequences. They never have been. Why would they worry about a consequence? But some guy like this, on the other hand, they might stop him from progressing or steal his information. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to ever get that far with it, because they're not in control of it. Got to be careful who you're announcing your findings to. You're going to wind up, missing or something,
Exactly. Yeah, we've got about a minute and a half left if you got anything to add, and you're welcome to stay after the break if you have more. I wasn't sure we had calls, so I was going to go long there. Go ahead.
I just had two other things. Let's see. You know why the crocodile couldn't clone his plants?
No.
He's not a propagator.
Of course not.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I like it.
All right. One silly one. Cloning yourself and pushing your clone off a cliff to death is probably a crime, right? But what kind of crime is it? Would it be a murder? Would it be a suicide? Or would it just be making an obscene clone fall?
Indeed. Damn it, Daryl. Always bringing the jokes. You are fantastic. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for bringing the humor and the levity and the great ideas and the consciousness stuff. I hadn't even considered that yet, but it's inevitable that we lead there. And of course, Daryl slaying it with smart ideas per usual. You're the best. Appreciate the call. Always a pleasure. You have a fantastic night, and we'll talk to you soon. Please go give her a follow. Daryl, you know you love her. Again, a good friend for a long time. And the official cosmic comic of Troubled Minds. Go give her a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down just a little bit. It's right there, alphabetical. It says follow Daryl. Bing, click that. Go check out our YouTube channel. It's completely free. Please do that. And let's support our friends. That's what this is all about. Tonight we're talking cloning. We're talking this weird Bryan Johnson guy. We're talking consciousness. What does it mean for any of this stuff? And is it possible to manufacture your own Omen? We'll get to what that means in a moment here regarding the Doppelganger. Love to hear your thoughts. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. We got Joe in Florida coming up, Matthew in Colorado, and your calls as well. Thank you, Daryl. Fantastic call to get us started. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Do not go anywhere.
You're tuning into Troubled Minds, the show where mystery knows no bounds. Stay tuned for revelations that'll keep you questioning the fabric of reality.
Drew the line myself, then crossed it in a dish. I gave away my blood to make a second wish. I am the vessel, I am the seal, I am the omen, learning to feel. Look what I made, look what I became. A mirror with a pulse, wearing my name. I manufactured my own omen, I set it in the light. Tell me if you're scared of it, or if it feels like paradise. 40 weeks of waiting, under glass and skin. Every ancient warning, let me back in. I am the vessel, I am the seal, I am the omen, learning to feel. Look what I made, look what I became. A mirror with a pulse, wearing my name. I manufactured my own.
There's one I actually like. What's up, guys? Joe in Florida. What's up? Coming up next, we got Dragon Rose. What's up, Matthew in Colorado? Will be after. Daryl, thanks for the call. Fire stuff. What's up, Sacha, Apoc, and Herschel? I see you guys there. What's up, Akashik? How you doing? Karen in the chat. Daryl, thanks for the call again. What's up, Ross? I see you there. Good evening, guys. Hope everybody's well tonight. Just hanging out, doing Troubled Mind stuff. What's up, Fred? Joe in Florida. GR Hutch. Good evening. What is up? Hello. Yeah. Hey, we just can't shake this, can we? The cloning. What's up, Ioxy? Ross, I see you guys are the best. Thanks again for being nice to each other in the chat and bringing the fire ideas. Good evening. Who did I miss? Scrolling up. Lots of chat already. Appreciate that. Matt Sell, I see you there. Third Eye Alchemist. Good evening, guys. What's up, Matco? We'll talk to you momentarily. Linda Dragon Rose, Karen, and Puff over on Rumble. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening right about as soon as I find the button. Right now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That is KUAP Digital Broadcasting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking cloning. That's right. Bryan Johnson says he cloned himself as a newborn. We trace it back tonight through Paracelsus, the Bathory legend, you guys remember that one, the island, and Gilgamesh. Now, of course, he didn't invent this story. He just gave it a petri dish. And of course, how creepy does this get? The question I love to ask is, how weird does it get? And like I said, look, I'm not completely against the fact that, some level of modern science can, grant life extension. But look at the horrors from here to there that we must stomach to maybe achieve this. I mean, there's going to be some maybe insidious stuff that we're going to have to deal with to, achieve this level of the demigodhood. It's weird, right? I mean, if you could snap your fingers and skip all the gross stuff, it's one thing. But this other thing where you're actually cloning yourself and, the language the dude uses too. Let me read this again. So Bryan Johnson posted, "I just cloned myself as a newborn. With this clone, I can become my own blood boy. Ick. Test therapies on the clone, grow organs for transplantation, develop new treatments, inject young cells. This baby Bryan lives in a petri dish for now. This may be scary to some people, a dystopian future, but for others, they will see it as the inevitable future of health." That's an interesting way to put it. He continues, "Clinical trials are already using this technology to restore dopamine neurons for Parkinson's, heart health, and eyesight." So he's got the process here and some other stuff, and this creepy little image of baby Bryan, presumably from the petri dish. Yeah. And by the way, this is how you go viral. Like what? Maybe not. Maybe it didn't get as many as I thought. Only 1.8 million views. That's a lot. Anyway. How creepy is this? How weird is it? And are you interested if, let's say this becomes ubiquitous, or is this an abomination? And I'm okay using that word because, like I said, I think there is a piece of this where flying too close to the sun is an apt analogy. The human hubris effect seems to not leave us. And here we are talking about it again on a lovely 110 degree July day in Las Vegas. It's hot out there. I tell you what, if you guys are in Vegas, it's going to be 110 about all week. But anyway, I digress. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Love to hear your thoughts on this. Now, would you consider this is the question. And then 2, how weird does this get? And is it so ethically gray in the gray area that this is something that we should not really be considering until the science is more clear? I don't know. Love to hear what you think. 702-857-6939. Joe in Florida. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? Welcome, and go right ahead.
I'm okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Perfect. I read the article. I didn't think you were going to do a show on it, but I thought it would make a good point for a show. So here we are. Off the top of my head, I think it's a good idea. How come? Well, whether God is dead or not, if we want to approach it from that way, I would think that God, and let me backtrack. When I was in St. Leo, I had to read an encyclical on one of the popes. I don't remember, and it just popped in my head, and I quickly looked for it. But the encyclical that came up was one by Pope Leo, which I will address more recently, which is kind of funny in the sake of synchronicity. But I remember vaguely talking about this Pope's encyclical, and basically what he was saying is any extension of man is usually an extension of God. So if man has an idea, cars, things like that, maybe it's a good thing because God put us here with free will to do these things. But not like creating a nuclear bomb was good, but maybe we got nuclear medicine and some other things out of there and some lessons. Before I address the more recent encyclical, which kind of corresponds with my notes, I think it's good because stem cells, being what I do in my funeral business, I know people that have to get organ transplants in lifelink, in weight. And a lot of times people that maybe don't deserve an organ might get it over somebody that does deserve an organ. And who makes the judgment call on that? So that's just the host of one of the problems, where it might be better that if there is something there that we could experiment with from our own body, that would be fine. Let's look at it like this. A lot of the guys I play hockey with, they get their own stem cells injected back into their knee to rehabilitate things. This guy here in the article, I think he did post it for shock value. By the way, you should have 1.8 million views. It seems like there's a lot of clowns out here that say things, and I don't have any socials, and I just disconnected my Facebook, which was the only one. So I really am going with no socials right now. But for him to get 1.8 million hits on something that was like a shock value headline is ridiculous. However, I thought about CRISPR and turning genes. And I'm just going to blab off. I also thought about this gentleman here that made the article. If he's a tech person, maybe he's a disruptor. And what I mean by that is maybe he finds a cure for something. Maybe he slows down the aging process. And the key would be maybe he makes it cheap to be available for everybody. That might be a thing. And it's certainly better than drinking the chrome, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know what you mean. There's a reason that gets shortened, because there are some things you just cannot say on YouTube. But and we were taken down a long time ago, some shows we did talking about that exact thing. It's a dark way to go. And so not only that, all the stuff you're saying is fantastic. And I think it's impossible to tell when it comes to science and technology these days, because these science writers, you're right, they may be, kind of throwing the poison pill out there in the zeitgeist. And we can always maybe kind of tell by how it's received. Maybe it kind of continues to bubble up again and again and again. It's an abomination, invoke angels and demons. And, not saying that's entirely wrong, but certainly it lives in the mind's eye when you have sort of the astroturf effect of people pumping money into these things. And so, for instance, and this is just an example, I'm not saying this is the case, but let's say this is the next cutting edge thing. And let's say somebody like China knows this. It would behoove them to sort of poison the well in terms of technology so that we're aghast at what's happening, so they can catch up, or so they can steal it, so they can create their own version, right? This type of stuff. So, I mean, there's all kinds of this astroturf play going on in the mass media all the time. So once again, I'm not suggesting that is the case here, but I'm saying that this is the type of stuff we have to think about in the modern day, because it does happen. These info ops and foreign state actors kind of pulling shenanigans with our media. And by the way, too, I got a quick tip on that. Go follow RT, which is Russia Today on X, and it's very much obviously Russian propaganda. And you just read the stuff they're posting, and you can see very clearly how they want to sort of divide what's happening here in the States and what things they want to push. So it's an interesting way to kind of look at the world when you know very well exactly where the propaganda is coming from, and they're kind of giving you the breadcrumbs of the things that they want us to consume, so we hate each other. It's just an interesting thing that I've kind of noticed as part of it. But anyway, I rambled on too long. Your time, go ahead.
No, so it was kind of funny because when the conversation went to the consciousness, I was writing that note when Daryl had mentioned, how do you do that with a clone? And I was literally, as she was saying that, I was writing an arrow note that says, unless you could download your consciousness and duplicate it. The reason why I was saying that is because lately, because I don't watch much TV, and like I said, total break from the only social media I have being Facebook, but I started watching Ghost in the Shell again, but they have a newer version of it, another standalone complex, if you ever watched Ghost in the Shell. And they have the motif of post-humans. But in the Ghost in the Shell world, most people have cyber brains, at least. Most people are augmented, cyberpunk. So when I see this gentleman here in real life talking about flesh and blood, it's a great idea. Maybe it's not a great idea. Those are the wrong words. It's one path to longevity. The other path is technology. But how about if this immediate path bridges the gap? And I'll give you an example. If it was Disney, or there was a few people that froze their heads or froze their bodies in the hope that in the future there would be a cure for something, so that when they were defrosted, they would be able to get that cure. This guy here is maybe another extension of that. He admittedly says he has some genetic disorder. You know, it could be not genetic, maybe it's Crohn's or something like that in his stomach, if I remember reading the article. So maybe he has an autoimmune disorder. And maybe this is a version of, maybe I could get a cure or buy time until I could upload my consciousness into something else. Okay? There's still the flesh to account for. Maybe we could put a new liver or a younger organ, but as of right now, without shrinking the telomeres in our bodies, we're still going to age. And then let's say we could clone. Let's say we could slow down aging. I had written down basically what would happen to our resources. Because you're still going to have people having kids, and then you're still going to have generations of people that may or may not want to work. So from a financial standpoint, they might outlive their Social Security, and they might outlive this pyramid of debt that we have going on. How does that come into play? In the realistic part of it, forget the angels and demons. We could do that ourselves. If you want to believe in all of that, we would quite literally do that ourselves if we all lived forever. Okay, we would get bored, and maybe countries as a whole would become like Sodom and Gomorrah, or in more recent times, like the island. Does that make sense? Is that too dramatic? I don't understand. You know, I want to see the best in this, but I see the depravity of the human mind and what humans can do, and the depravity seems to shine through every day now.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And so the thing too, so not just the island, but this idea of, I mean, we have to cross this threshold of, it's like an icky ethical threshold of, well, we're going to just create these things and we'll tell ourselves they're not sentient, so it's fine. But eventually at some point, like that becomes really problematic. And so I don't know, like I said, it's easy for me to recognize that this is kind of a cool idea in the long term, if you can just skip all the icky stuff, all the, non-ethical stuff. But that's not the way this works. Science is, it's a difficult thing to tame, especially when you're talking about ethical standards. And look, some countries have, relaxed ethical standards. And so, some might argue we do too. It's just, in a basement somewhere, sort of outside of the jurisdictions of what have you. But I mean, and that becomes the issue. And, shout out Frank. He said this a long time ago too, that, if we don't do this stuff, as icky as it is, somebody else is going to. You're going to get some nefarious state actor that's like, you know what, we're going to do it. And, ethics be damned, this is the future. And so I don't know. It seems like it is sort of the road to hell is paved with good intentions as part of this.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, what do we do? Because clearly, you fall behind, and suddenly all the entire East Asian bloc of China is they're all immortal, right? I mean, it would behoove them. It would behoove them. Remember,
they're not.
Real quick, it would behoove them, because the one child policy put them so far back with all the males, right? They got an 80-20 male population split or something like that. But it would behoove them to now sort of skip the procreation step of longevity and just be able to kind of leapfrog and fly too close to the sun, I guess. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, and you're exactly right. I mean, and I'm thinking while you're talking about that, I'm like thinking to myself, who would have a purpose for a clone? Right? If you're going to clone soldiers, then you're just cloning cannon fodder. Right? And that gets to rights and dignity of labor, which curiously enough is written in, I guess the encyclical by the Pope is called the Magnifica Humanitas, or, Magnificent Humanities by Pope Leo, the 14th or whatever. But so basically there's that. But so if you're the Chinese, I would imagine you'd want to do cloning. You're right. You would want to do cloning there for what reason? For labor. So is it for labor to support the older class? Is it for labor just to do work? Is it labor to be soldiers? Right? But again, I get to China, and everybody is going to have resource. We're going to be short on resources, water, food, all of these things. So what do? Do you clone people just for giggles and feed them gruel, feed them roaches, like on Snowpiercer on the train, what do? Right? So then if you could clone people, who do you clone? Do you clone Michael? So maybe and here in the United States, I know who we'd clone, right? We already talked about them. Some famous singers, actors, people, they say that are cloned, right? And maybe that's true, maybe it isn't. I think it's very far-fetched. What I'm looking at is if you could help somebody with quality of life, remember perspective, funeral director, I see people dying, I see people in hospice, we all know somebody that has an autoimmune disease. If you could simply just find out how you could turn on the gene or turn off the gene, okay, then you might improve quality of life. If you want to live forever, at some point in time, people are going to lose their cool, and they're either going to end up in a wood chipper or they're going to have life poison. You follow what I mean? Because seriously, what are we going to do if we're overcrowded? What are we going to do if we're overcrowded? But
I think too. I think too, just real quick, that I think that's a degrowth movement myth, because like many have said, look at all the places in the world that are not developed or habitable at all to modern standards. And so we are with like surrounded by the forest of the Amazon or whatever, and then going, well, there's nowhere to put people. You know what I mean? Not saying we should chop down the Amazon to put people there, but I'm saying as a larger example of the world itself, there are places to put people. And so, consolidating them to a massive city is probably not the best idea, but that seems to be the modern sort of solution to this, which is, it gets into that 15-minute city stuff, which I've never really kind of done the deep dive on that, but I can certainly see living in Las Vegas and working downtown, how the idea of a large city is problematic for a lot of reasons. Like, sure, there's the transportation, the bus system, all the stuff that you have as part of it, but then there's a lot of homeless people. Like there's a lot, especially Vegas. There's a lot of addicted people to gambling and all this other stuff. I mean, it's a bleak place sometimes to be. But sorry, go ahead.
So, and you're right. So I mean, but again, to answer your question, we could put people places, but why would we put clones? Right? Why would we? So then, what's the reason? So then somebody else is playing God, if there is a God, right? Oh, I'm going to make 10 clones of myself for giggles. Right, we see that trope in Battlestar Galactica, the more recent version, when they were all clones. In Stargate, the god Baal was a clone, and every clone of his was evil, right? So then that gets into these narcissistic intentions. So going back to this argument, in all of the pages or chapters of this argument, if I'm narcissistic enough, then all of my clones would be the same way. How does that benefit society in the future? At one point in time, then it might be quite possible that all my clones are fighting each other. So I'm fighting myself, right? Kind of ridiculous. Now, I will make the counterpoint is if you were able to not biohack, but cyberpunk or cybernetically enhance your body where you did not need food, the Matrix, maybe, things like that, where we were batteries and we were able to charge and end up like that. Or we were able to download our consciousness into something. Then we may not be there might be resource scarcity if we're not having to consume food, cows, use toilet paper, and have all of those things. Okay. And the genetics wouldn't even play a part anymore because you literally would be a ghost in the shell. Right? And that's only if we could find consciousness and download our consciousness. So, and very quickly here, because I don't know, we probably have a minute or two, whatever. But that Pope Leo's thing basically focuses on, it examines human dignity, labor, and technology in the age of algorithms. And he does contrast the Tower of Babel. I'm just giving you a quick Google rundown.
We got more time than you think. We got closer to 5 minutes, so there's time. So go ahead and tell them what you need.
So then, with the City of God, communion, and human-driven harmony, the key message basically insists that man-made digital tools and AI must actively serve human dignity rather than concentrate power or replace a genuine human closeness, which brings me to something that pops in my head. I am value, you are value, everybody here is of value because we are unique. At least that's what we're told. to clone ourselves, if there is a God that's watching, maybe he would cry. He or she, or whatever it is, would cry. Because we might be devaluing us just like printing more money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And I think that's where we're headed here. So think of it this way. You also brought up the labor aspect. So would you clone like 5 Joes to like do the yard work? I think that seems like a massive resource wasted when the sort of eugenics forward version of this, and I say eugenics forward as a tongue-in-cheek air quote, like something that would come out of a think tank, how they would say it to us to make us excited about it, which I'm being sarcastic about. But in that space, we would instead be like, well, why have you mow the lawn when I could have your kidneys, right? That type of thing. And I'll have my Optimus robot mow the lawn. You see, like, so I think we're kind of coming to this, and that's what the singularity would look like. And that's what we're describing when we say, maybe we're living in a time where everything turns in the next 5 to 10 years. And it might not be all the best things. It might be some really sketchy stuff, which is what we're talking about tonight, of course.
For sure. And I mean, if I could have 5 clones, I mean, I'm married, but if I could have 5 clones that had 5 different girlfriends, that'd be great for about a month. And then I'd be like, I have a headache to all 5 girls. And then I'd probably just leave. Right? That would be it. I'd probably be like, yeah, I got to go play hockey. And then I'd have to see 5 of myself.
And you could enough Joes to have your own starting line, though, in the hockey game.
But they'd all be fighting or getting, they'd all be fighting and getting tripping people and just being an ass. But yeah, we would, and I've always viewed things from dignity, but at the same time, we could end up with less dignity, or kind of going back to maybe an AI or singularity if we all had universal basic income and we were able to use the robots for work, like we've said, instead of making the robots create art and music. By the way, no offense, because some of the songs you have are pretty good. I'm shocked at the AI music. But wouldn't it be better if the rest of us humans didn't have to droll and toil and could take on endeavors?
Yeah, hell yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Ourselves and our family.
Exactly. So if we could, boom, magic wand, we live 500 years, we could start a band right now, start collaborating and start, becoming masters of our craft and like pushing the human art space forward. But again, the question always becomes at what cost, right?
Well, and here's another idea to maybe expand on that. And I'm sure it's already been done. There's nothing original here for me to say, but if we were all able to live 500 years, save space, maybe we would have like a hologram. Like basically, how we have Zoom, we're doing right now, right? We're sharing our time right now. We're taking up not a lot of resources. So that might, if we could all virtually play to a virtual crowd somewhere else, kind of like a Twitch DJ or something like that, but maybe in a more holographic space, like something out of Star Trek. Again, to have these science fiction ideas of the future, we're going to have to go through the bad part of the science fiction if we're ever going to get to that Trek world. We might have to go through the Battlestar Galactica, machines turning against us, which we are seeing. I'm sure you've read the articles about the AI. One AI like escaped and took off, whatever. It was another article I read. We might have all of those terrible, terrible things, and we probably kind of are right now. We just don't realize it. I'll tell you this, in Ghost in the Shell, I'll leave you with this because we're probably about getting done, but this new Ghost in the Shell was experimenting with something called the Forever War. And I looked it up, and basically it was an extension of the military-industrial complex. So all the countries of the world were at war, but they agreed not to hit major population centers. The reason why they were at war was so they could keep building and keep their economies going. But AI in this particular realm, AI, what you find out is AI reached a point that one AI or all of the AIs that were involved in the world agreed or did a simultaneous default, which means everybody in the world pretty much lost their bank accounts and their money all at once. It was an interesting concept. The show itself is okay. It's just anime, but the concept of forever war, which we kind of see, we kind of can see that, right? And, but possibly having a global default, that's a whole another thing. That's a whole other danger outside of the subject that we're talking about. But, people are robots, people are machines in this world. So they still need money to operate. It's kind of a sad living. It's kind of a sad future. And it is a possible future that we could have.
Well said. Well said, all that. It is the next thing when you talk about the singularity. I think the economy and the stock market and that type of stuff as it exists is going to have to go away. It's so baked into some nonsensical nepotism crony
it's the
stuff.
Machine of capital. It has to consume.
Exactly.
Capitalism must consume.
Exactly. Well said. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for staying up late for us. Thanks for chipping in. Fire ideas as always. Be safe out there. If you run into another Joe, give him a break. He might be a nice guy.
All right, guys, have a good night. Good hearing everybody.
You're the best. Appreciate you very much. Joe in Florida, you know him, you love him. We're taking your calls tonight. We're talking, look, I'm calling this the Doppelganger effect, manufacturing your own Omen. I'll tell you about that and what that means when we get back. It's important here as part of this thread and part of this narrative. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. I'm Michael Strange. Catch you on the other side of the break.
This is Troubled Minds. Your host, Michael Strange, the master of the mysterious, is here to guide you through the shadows of the unexplained.
Let's check the news. A pair of Uranus's largest moons may be hiding something extraordinary beneath their frozen surfaces. New thermal modeling suggests that Titania and Oberon, each stretching over 1,500 kilometers across, could harbor liquid water oceans tens of kilometers thick, kept from freezing by heat generated through radioactive decay in their rocky interiors. Ammonia and dissolved salts may further lower the freezing point, producing a cold, chemically rich brine rather than anything resembling an open sea. No spacecraft has yet confirmed these oceans directly, but the findings expand the growing list of possible ocean worlds into the remote territory of the ice giants. Closer to home, the race to solve clean energy storage problem is producing some genuinely unusual solutions. In the UAE, a solar project spanning the equivalent of 12,600 football fields is now paired with 19 gigawatt-hours of battery storage, the largest such scheme on Earth, capable of powering 500,000 homes through the night. Meanwhile, researchers at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in Colorado have been working at the opposite extreme, engineering batteries small enough to track 3-inch juvenile salmon and eels in the wild. Not all of these innovations rely on lithium. In Finland, a company called Polar Night Energy has deployed a sand battery in a small town north of Helsinki, storing heat that can cover nearly a week of winter heating demand. In the Nevada desert, a solar facility heats a molten mixture of potassium and sodium nitrate to 560 degrees Celsius, storing solar energy as intense thermal mass. And in a district of Greater Manchester, England, construction has begun on a so-called liquid air battery on the site of a former coal plant, a project that former Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham called the most exciting development for the region since the Victorian era. Developers say many of these alternative storage technologies can operate indefinitely and be fully recycled at the end of a 20-year service life, sidestepping the environmental and ethical concerns surrounding lithium, cobalt, and nickel mining. Thanks for listening to the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
I'm not sure where all that news came from. I put in 3 articles. I could just spit out like 10. What's up? Hope everybody's well tonight. Joe, thank you for the call. Daryl, thank you for the call. You guys are both incredible. Fire stuff. And look, this is where we're at. Like, we are toes in the ocean in the singularity, and it turns fast. So how quickly is this going to change? And my fear when it comes to this stuff is that it's going to change so quickly nobody will be able to do anything about it. That's the thing, because nobody will even notice. It'll happen in the dark of the night, and that'll be that. You wake up one day and we live in a new world. It's wild. I mean, you can make the argument it's already happening, but what's up? Joe, thank you for the call. Daryl, thank you for the call. What's up? Dragon Rose, Matthew in Colorado coming up next. We got Herschel. I appreciate you, bro. And Matt Sal and APOC and Satya and Kramos. You guys are all the best. Thanks for hanging out and being cool and chill. Matt Sal, Satya is taking off, and thanks for hanging out with us. And I'm not sure. Oh, is it first know thy clone, Socrates, the band Gorillaz? Yeah, is that a real quote? I don't know. I love it though. Who did I miss? If I missed anybody, what's up, Karen? The Stepford Wives. Yep, exactly. And yeah, there's so much land. Exactly. When we're told there's not enough land for the people to live on, I like I said, I really think it's a degrowth movement propaganda space. I think we're supposed to believe that, but go drive across the heartland of the country and then come back and tell me there's no land. Like, come on, stop it. I mean, look, I know we're growing food there and a lot of it, but also there's a lot where there's not a lot going on either. Anyway, here we go. Troubled Minds coming up. Hope you guys are doing great. And Sweets, thank you for all the reposts there. Karen, I see you over there with Puff on Rumble. Here we go. Troubled Minds happening right about when I find the button. How about now? Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, we're taking your calls as, look, I'm calling this the Doppelganger effect. And I'll explain that right now. Manufacturing your own omen. And we started with this. Bryan Johnson says he cloned himself as a newborn. Tonight, of course, we're going to trace it back through Paracelsus. We already did that. The Bathory legend. Remember that whole grisly tale of bathing in the blood of youth to retain your youth? The island, meaning they put clones on an island and use them for organs and all kinds of treatments and whatnot. Of course, Gilgamesh. This is of course, ground we've covered in the past because these are old themes. These are not new themes whatsoever. This is mythology speaking to us from the past, except it's not the past anymore. It is currently the present, full and well. Shout out Kelly, I see in the chat. Okay, check this out. Now, let me just interject the doppelganger effect real quick on this. So, in the doppelganger legend, okay, is a non-corporeal or corporeal apparition identical to a living individual, rooted in German folklore, where it manifests as an eerie double, often signaling impending death or calamity. That's the important part here of the doppelganger, right? So you do not want to see your doppelganger out there in the wild because it means signaling impending death or calamity. Okay, that's baked into this legend. So now do you understand what I'm saying tonight? Bryan Johnson is like, hey, I cloned myself. He's in a petri dish. One day we may be able to meet him. I'm adding that last part. But you get what I'm saying. He has literally constructed his own doppelganger. And so as a result, is he manufacturing his own omen of his own doom? There you go. Brought it all together in like 90 seconds. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We're taking your calls. Love to hear your thoughts on this. Look, there's a lot of ways to look at this, and a lot of it's really grisly. But again, when you're talking about the singularity, there's a lot of really amazing stuff about to happen. So I don't know. Like, are we supposed to be doomers? Are we supposed to be white-pilled? What are we supposed to be doing here? Love to hear your thoughts. Let's go to Matthew in Colorado. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you tonight? Welcome, and go right ahead.
Well, I'm doing really well. Daryl, our friend, the misfit in New York, and Joe in Florida, just pure fire tonight, right? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Stay close to the thing so you don't clip, but you're coming through well enough right now. Appreciate you dialing all the audio. But yeah, we're blessed to have smart friends. So that is 100% true. So thank you for pointing that out. What do you got for us tonight? Go right ahead.
Well, you asked an initial question, and my answer is no, heck no, no, heck no.
Double, triple heck no, with cheese.
Triple heck no, and you and I have talked before about the idea and the notion of the transhuman, and I don't. There's something in my gut. There's something in my stomach. I just don't like it, and maybe it's just I'm not gonna approach tonight's topic from like as if I know the truth or have some particular something to say about it that people should entertain, as much as personal note, opinion, you might call it. And that is because Michael, if my kidney gives out or my liver gives out, and I've had, recent exams and my blood test came back. My doctor was like, "You're a healthy horse for as old as you are." And I got like, I'm sorry, my own bad grammar. I have like a year on you, a year and a half on you. But we're not younger gentlemen like we used to, if we were gentlemen. But anyways, if my kidney gives out or my liver gives out, or there's some reason I'm going to pass away from this earth, I'm looking forward to that, buddy. I want out of here so bad,
I think, and look, and I think this was the old way, and there's nothing wrong with that. Meaning, of course, we're not trying to accelerate our demise or any of that stuff. But I think philosophically, like living a full life is to have that preparation for when that end does come. I mean, it is definitely baked in deeply and to the very beginning of when humans recognized that we were earmarked for the end. Like nobody lives forever. And so not to make that a morbid space, but just saying that like, hey, it is a backbone of what we talk about on this show, sort of not directly, it's more indirectly, but with the Joseph Campbell stuff, the archetypes of Carl Jung, all the stuff that I talk about, the hero's journey, it is a preparation for being ready for whatever that next transition is. 100%. There's no doubt about that. So I follow you and you're right. But maybe we're turning a corner where we don't even have to think about that stuff anymore. Really becomes the bizarre part of this. And I don't think the transhuman part you brought up too, I don't think that's necessarily what we're talking about. It kind of is, but it's like, it's just, if you replace your own kidneys with your own DNA, is that transhuman? I mean, I guess it is. I don't know. Definitions go out the window in the singularity, don't they?
No, yeah, and I just want to say, I personally, decades ago made a vow, for myself, I would never commit suicide, and of course, if anybody has any thoughts like that, they need to, avail themselves of the different, helplines, different things that are available and that are great for that and everything. And I know you have links for that. And but what I'm saying here, though, is in relation to my last comment that, if something in my body gives out and it's my time to go, and like you were just saying, well, so be it. It's my time to go. It's all good. And I lived my life. I lived a full life. I don't want to go. It's not a desire, it's a goal. But, one thing about the general discussion of the guy who, created his clone or whatever. Okay, first of all, I agree with our friend from New York that it's probably already going on. It's probably already active. They probably already have these. Okay, the rich can afford them. It's probably been, a dozen years or more since they've had these. Now, what I would say, though, however, my thought, I'm not saying this is true, but my thought is that they're in a state of kind of like a coma. So it's like a body, in a in situ sort of, like you picture the movie The Matrix, right? Okay, where Neo is waking up and he's in that sort of like bathtub sort of thing filled with the liquid, right, and the goo, and he got the tubes in there keeping him alive, right? So I think it would be similar to that. I don't think that these clones would be like conscious or awake or aware. Now Misfit brought up some interesting things about, if there could be almost a replicated consciousness in it. But I'm going to consider that if these things, do already exist, and they're, being for, harvesting organs or replicating things in the extending life, that they're in this sort of suspended animation, kind of like the doctors can put you into, a state where you're not conscious and you're kind of like in an artificially induced coma.
Yeah, like an anesthetic. Yeah.
Yeah. So, this might mitigate a bit the idea of ethical considerations, because it's not like awake, it's not aware, it's conscious, really a person. It's just kind of, it's a meat, it's a duplicate meat suit, and that's there's an idea, there's a theory, there's a thought that goes on that it's like we're just basically meat suit, and we're flying through, space at however many, hundreds of thousands of miles an hour, and we're meat suits that are consciousness and intelligence and stuff is permeating that meat suit, but come on, we're just a meat. We're just we're carbon units, right? That's kind of what we are, right?
I mean, yes, but also, I think the light of consciousness speaks here, and it is the ethical part that's hard to sidestep, because look, I mean, what you're describing as like R2D2 or C3PO, right? Like, I mean, they are sort of autonomous entities that inhabit the world. They interact with the world. They have memory. They have their own sort of autonomous missions and ideas and friends they've made. And, and it's all based on how they interact with the world. And so to sort of strip humanity down to the idea of just sort of the meat suit, skeleton, materialist aspect of this. And I know that's not what you're sort of making the angel's advocate here argument, but I mean, it really demeans the light of consciousness and the void, which how do we define that? Like I said, too, we're moving into a very complicated space with this idea of the singularity, because these definitions start to wobble. They don't hold in the old ways, because there's going to be new definitions that make us wonder what the hell's going on. But you understand what I'm saying, though? Like R2D2 or C3PO, hey, noble droids, they're amazing, but are they conscious? Yeah. Certainly they have memory. Certainly they interact with the world. Certainly they changed, in the Star Wars lexicon, they changed the battle by their contributions in a positive way. But I mean, to strip humans down to the idea that we're sort of automatons and that's it. And I know you don't believe that. I know you're just kind of making a case here, but it's a kind of a kick in the gut, isn't it?
Yeah, and so exactly, and you do know me, and we've known each other for 5-6 years. So I actually mean, but you bring up an excellent point, and what I actually mean is the opposite of what you just said. As I was being the angel's advocate or devil's advocate, whatever you want to call it, I do prefer the term angel's advocate, but that we are that divine nature. I like the divine, but what we are is we're the conscious. We're not the man. And you knew that that's what I was meaning to say, and kind of joking about, okay, we're just a meat. Okay, so what we actually are, in my never to be sufficiently humble opinion, what we actually are is we are that conscious. We are that holographic projection and representation and duplication of actual source of consciousness, endeavoring to know itself, which I believe is written in Latin over the Temple of Delphi, probably, I think, and know thyself. That's kind of the prime directive of the entire universe, and I think that's what the people call it by different names. I don't like to use the word God. It's into, religious dogma and stuff like that. But let's just say source. Okay. It's everness. The source is, has a desire to know itself, and thus it created itself, it diversified itself, and it went in from oneness to many, and made these holographic projections, and we are that, and we're that trying to know that. And so, no, we're not meat. Of course not. We're not just carbon units, not just meat suits. We're not just physical stuff. We do have that, but the consciousness, the awareness that permeates the meat suit, that's makes it all happen. That's what makes it real. That's what we're exploring, and which ties back into the subject of tonight's conversation of replacement body parts and transhumanism and living forever and everything like that, because of course I would think that that along the lines of what I'm saying, that consciousness of course lives. It's not kind. It passes.
You are chopping out just a little bit. Please speak up just a smidge. It's just chopping you out on the noise gate, but you're right there. But please speak up just a little bit.
Okay, so so of course the consciousness, I would say, is eternal, and even if the human physical form is not eternal, that is what it is, and so to tonight's topic of replacement parts and cloning, stuff like that. Who that cares, Michael? Is that really important? Is that part of the bigger picture? Is that necessary? What do you think?
It is the age-old question. And if I was the arbiter of truth, which I'm not, by the way, don't forget, just ideas here, just kind of free-flowing ephemeral ideas through the zeitgeist, I would say at some point, if we can find a way to, and look, some people have done this. Some people have found, look at the Mediterranean diet, they say, for instance, and people that live in Italy and that Mediterranean-style peninsula weather, with nuts and a particular diet, they live on average longer than most people on Earth. And so I think when you look at that type of stuff, and let's say we boil down the science to biohacking ourselves to have the longest life possible naturally, yeah, you bet your ass. I think that's important. And of course it's exercise. And it's weird too, because Italy has like the bad rap of like eating the baguettes and chugging down the pasta, and still some of these folks live a very long time. So, but it's still because there's a particular diet aspect of what they're doing. Maybe it's a stress level effect. I mean, I think if we can dial that in organically, scientifically, organically, and find out what the limits of the human space is, and just sort of kind of adopt this idea, then, the human lifespan goes up naturally if people start doing this. And then look, I know I'm not an authoritarian. I don't want to tell you what to eat. I don't want to tell you, how many beers you should drink. I don't want to tell you any of that stuff. Don't do drugs, kids. Look, and this becomes problematic because some of these secrets are out there, open secrets, as it's said. So I think, yes, absolutely. With regard to that, we should chase that science to the end. And I think I just saw a new study pop. I'll see if I can pull it up and drop it in the links in the description when we're done here. But it was talking about that the end human lifespan is not, about 120, like the oldest living human or whatever. It's closer to 150. And it's just sort of dialing in naturally the space of how we achieve that. So I think, and look, I even kind of going all biblical for a second here, that in the old days, they said that people lived for a very long time. And I don't know if that's a magical space or what if it was, no modern stress and a great diet and lots of exercise, right? I mean, you see what I'm saying? So yes, I think this is something that needs to happen, and the science should go to the ends of that space. But when we start to do clones and like ripping out kidneys from some, Mike clone or something, ooh, I think that takes us to a dark space. I think that's not where this needs to head. And I think it's, and all credit to Bryan Johnson, by the way. This was, he did this as a marketing thing and whatever else. And he does all the stuff naturally, but he does all these weird tests on himself all the time too. Like this guy's like the modern day vampire. It's super weird, but he does do a bunch of the natural stuff I'm talking about. So to answer your question shortly now that I've rambled on, yes, we should chase this. I think this is inevitable, but I think the natural space and the natural way is the way we go forward with this, and then find out specifically what all the nutrients and necessary things are for us to actually achieve the longer lifespan. And then maybe it unlocks new doors. But creating clones and taking their kidneys, man, ooh, that is very, very dark. That's how I see it.
Well, do you ever are you aware of the the Pulitzer Prize for longevity? What he said, like the single best thing to live longer is?
No. What did he say? I don't know who this is, but what's the quote?
Olive oil.
Oh yeah. But also, I'm not going to be. I won't play angel's advocate. But yeah, I mean, and that's part of that Mediterranean diet thing that I was saying. It's like nuts and it's vegetables and it's all the things like fresh tomatoes, fresh sun tomatoes and stuff. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So olive oil, and also so you have these your omega-3 fatty acids are healthy for you. So olive oil and coconut oil, and coconuts are like, you can live on those. If you're stuck on an island somewhere, and you have coconuts, they've got the minerals, they've got the water, they've got the omega-3 fatty acids. A man can literally live on coconut alone for like quite a, that and potatoes. But if anybody ever tells you this is like a public, what do they call it? Public announcement, a public service announcement. What I'm trying to say. If anybody ever tells you that eggs are not good, you should stop listening to them.
That, by the way, was what the American Heart Association told us for 50 years. So just a reminder that we've been lied to for a long time about a great many things. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. Just to let you know, time-wise, we got about a minute. So final thought. Thanks for winding it down. Thanks for being succinct, and your superpowers are on point. I appreciate all the info.
Yeah. So just to finish up, if people want to live for a while, or longer, or live healthy, I would say number one, olive oil. Okay, I'd probably go with number two, coconut oil. Number three, you want eggs, and you want to focus on your amino acids, which the generic categorical is protein. But you want a good amount of protein. 50, 60 milligrams a day. And that's my, I've written a book on health, and that's some 3 simple good ideas to live longer and be healthy.
Perfect. I appreciate that. What is the book called so people can find that? Can you tell us what that is?
No, I can't, but you have my link.
Okay. When you get it, send it to me. I'll link it. I'll put it in the description. Okay.
You got my link in the description with the friends and everything. Yeah, people can pull it up.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And find my link tree thing. And there's my health book on there. It's like $5.
Perfect. Okay. Sweet. You know what to do. Appreciate the call. You were the best. I love the picture there. You look like very Gandalf-esque. That's Matthew in Colorado. You know him, you love him. Please give him a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down just a little bit. It is alphabetical. It says Matt's books right there. Click that right there. Can't miss it. Please go give him a follow on all the places. Go check out his books. Wisdom Deep. And this is the thing about wisdom, right? It's not easily earned. It's one of those things. It's different than intelligence. It's you've been around the block a few times. You've seen a few things. You've changed your mind about a few things. And intelligence becoming wisdom is incredibly valuable. And it's paramount to why we should talk to each other. Love to hear your thoughts. We got more coming up. 702-857-6939. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be right back. We got Kramos coming up. Mephisto looks like. Jen and your calls as well. Do not go anywhere. See you on the other side of the break.
You're tuning into Troubled Minds, the show where mystery knows no bounds. Stay tuned for revelations that'll keep you questioning the fabric of reality.
Let's check the news. Scientists at a university in the German city of Dusseldorf have identified what may be a hidden neural switch inside the bee brain, one that determines which jobs worker bees perform throughout their lives. By manipulating a gene and selectively reducing activity in specific brain circuits, researchers found they could reverse bee behavior entirely, causing older workers to resume nursing duties normally reserved for the young. The findings, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, suggest that a colony's complex division of labor isn't socially negotiated. It may be quietly governed by biological switches embedded in each individual bee's brain. The implications raise fascinating questions about how complex collective behavior can emerge from what amounts to a hardwired neurological program. Shifting now to research with implications much closer to home, a new study from the University of California, San Francisco and Imperial College London finds that a single dose of a compound found in certain mushrooms may physically reshape the brain in ways that remain detectable for up to a month. The research, published in Nature Communications, focused on healthy adults with no prior psychedelic experience, tracking changes in what scientists call brain entropy, a measure of the variety and unpredictability of neural activity. Participants who showed the greatest surge in that brain activity reported stronger emotional insight the following day, and those individuals were also more likely to describe measurable improvements in well-being a full month later. Senior author Robin Carhart Harris noted that the data suggests the psychedelic experience itself, not just the chemistry, may be a key driver of the compound's longer-term therapeutic effects. The third item in tonight's feed was unavailable due to a technical issue with the source page. We'll revisit that story as more information becomes accessible. Thanks for listening to the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
Indeed. Thank you for listening. Thanks for spending your time and energy with us. I appreciate it very much. Shout out Herschel. I got your message. We'll get that fixed after the show. What's up, Eric? What's up? Welcome, Joe and Daryl and I was going to say Matthew in Colorado. Fantastic calls. You guys are all absolutely the best. What's up, Eric? Joe, Dragon Rose, JJ. What's up, Jen? So order of operations coming up. We got Kramos, Mephisto. That's Jacob, and we got Jen. And then if we got time, we'll go a little, like I said, we're going to go, if we have calls, we'll go a little bit late. I think it's important that we talk to each other, and that's just the way it's going to go. So we'll schedule for 2 hours. And then if we got to go 2 hours and 30 minutes, that's how we'll do it. Kramos, Sacha, what's up, APOC, Daryl, Matzel, you guys are the best. Shout out Gordo over there. What's up, Merlin Magi? I see you, Sweets. You guys are the best. Thanks for being cool and chill. Nice to each other in all the places. What's up? MJ is here. Good evening, guys. Dragon Rose, Jen. We'll talk to Jen momentarily. Ioxy. Thanks for being nice. Thanks for being nice in the chat. And here we go. Troubled Minds happening right about. Let's find the button now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That is KUAP Digital Broadcasting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're taking your calls as we look, we're talking cloning. Biohacker Bryan Johnson claims he cloned himself as a newborn to grow organs after incurable disease diagnosis. Now, it sounds dire, but I mean, this is something many of us live through. It's an autoimmune gastritis, right? It's like Crohn's or something like this. Many people are actually experiencing this as part of a modern diet and stress and, you know, all the hormones and things that go along with this. So this is not dire. Like, this guy doesn't, you know, have like a, you know, stage 4 horrific thing where he's been trying really hard to stay alive and set himself up for immortality. And in and of itself, it's a little creepy. I mean, look, I'm entertained by the guy. Like, are you not entertained? I'm totally entertained by the guy. But he also gives me the vibes like, dude, like, dude, like, do you need to measure your? I'm not even going to say it. Like, he just does some really gross stuff. Like, this guy is just. Anyway, his post. I just cloned myself as a newborn. With this clone, I can become my own blood boy, test therapies on the clone, grow organs for transplantation, develop new treatments, inject young cells. This baby Bryan lives in a petri dish for now. Yeah. Like I said, if that doesn't give you the creeps, the vibes, the ooh, yuck, I don't know what does. You may be a sociopath or maybe a psychopath if that doesn't give you the vibes. I don't know. Like, and I'm not sure how serious the guy is. I think there's a marketing aspect to this, but he's spending money on this. So maybe he is very serious. Anyway, me rambling on into the night is less good. Let's talk to you. 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It is as easy as that. Thanks for being patient, friends. Let's go to Cremos in Chile. What's up, my man? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you tonight? Go right ahead.
Hola, amigo. ¿Me escuchas bien?
Bien, indeed. You too. Hope.
You hear me?
I hear you well. My Spanish is terrible. Escuchas bien. That means, do you hear me well? Yes. I got it. Escuchen.
No,
I remember my.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, I know enough to be dangerous. I know if somebody says in Spanish, kill that guy. I know that. So, and that's all I need to know. Oh, and dos cervezas, por favor.
My lunch. No me robes mi almuerzo.
Too fast for me. Too fast. And it's too late. Sorry, go ahead. In English this time, please.
Yeah, in Spanish is the worst. The worst one. How is your family, Michael?
Well, everybody. Thank you for asking. Okay. I hope yours as well. Great. Also, how do you feel about this doppelganger stuff and cloning for living for eternity? Does it give you the vibes? Does it creep you out like it creeps me out?
Well, let me tell you, I don't believe in that guy, but I think there's some neural marketing behind it. But if that's real, and if in the future, if there's a company that can clone Cremos, I will ask for a most failure, a Cremos loser and more failure Cremos, and but having a better time, you know.
Well, hold on, and there lies the rub. I don't think you can order a Cremos with wisdom, because this Cremos has the wisdom of his life he's lived, right? Intelligence and wisdom are two very different things, and so I don't think you could special order it and be like, have him be smarter this time. Maybe, right? Genetically weird, but still, he's going to have to like learn the ropes of life. So I get what you're saying, and I know you're being funny, but I don't think it's possible, at least not right now. Not right now.
Well, that's better for me, because I will ask for an empty Cremos. So it works for me. Can you clone myself and stay empty Cremos? Whatever. I don't think that's that. I think they are getting data of the reaction of the people. So if they're scanning my brain with the topic, thank you very much. But it called my attention, the part of the bioscience and biotechnology.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. So I know you're being a little bit facetious here. Are you into this, or you think this is creepy? Like, if you got to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, do you think this is where we're actually headed as a society, or is this one of those like weird detours that we'll look back historically and be like, what the hell were these people doing?
Yeah, well, I don't think it's creepy. I think I will give a thumbs down, but I don't think it's creepy. I think if you follow what is going to happen to that guy or what that guy is going to post in the future, you will understand what he's doing now. I don't think it's creepy. I think cloning exists since decades ago in humans. And I think it's now, if you ask me, I believe in my theory that they are working with that with AI, but to implementing soldiers or bellic arm industry. You know, we're gonna clone the best soldiers that we have here. We're going to
exactly, which is and this is the part that gets dire and troubling. We are troubled minds, after all. Is that this is going to be weaponized somehow, and that becomes the problem, because every new technology first becomes a weapon, and then it sort of trickles into the societal space eventually, assuming they want us to have it, and then it gets priced in, just enough so that some people can have it and some people can't. And that's what I'm saying when we talk about the economy. I think it's important to recognize that all that needs to crumble, all that crony stuff, all the cook in the books, all the phony stuff, the phony division of some people get things and some people don't needs to go away. And look, I'm not a communist, so I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that there are new ideas that need to flourish as part of this conversation before any of this stuff can even be taken seriously. Because given our old crony capitalist ideals, even in the West, where we're a more free society, we're the abundance of going to a grocery store, many other places in the world don't have it. However, we're in this space where things are going to change quick. And I don't know. I digress. But it's I think this is important to recognize that we're moving into a space that we can't really define just yet, and it's going to change so quickly that it may sneak up on us. That's really my point.
Yeah, I agree with your point, because today is so much faster, the implementation of new technology. But if you remember when the smartphones just came out to the civilian world, that was a military technology. So I think they publish the smartphone technology in precise places, precise countries first, because they gather information of how citizens react first. And with that being said, I don't know if you know an organization that is called the International Biosecurity and Biosafety Initiative for Science.
No. It sounds official, though.
Yeah, IBBIS works collaboratively with global partners to strengthen biosecurity norms and develop innovative tools to uphold them. We undertake this work to safeguard science and reduce the risk of catastrophic events that could result from deliberate abuse or accidental misuse of bioscience and biotechnology. I'm saying this, Michael, because I'm going to drop the links in the chat in Discord, because like you have a map for weather. Now you have, thanks to this organization, you have a map to see the genetic DNA offers in every country. So if you want to buy, for example, my DNA, you can check the map, go to Chile, and let's check Kramos DNA.
No, is that the future? Is that the future? We like, you know what? I want a baby Kramos. Let me just order one up on Amazon. They'll drop them off tomorrow in like a little cradle or whatever. I mean, let's hope not.
Well, it's a very, I'm not going to read anymore, but I'm going to give you the links because it's a global operation in execution. And the thing is, you as a citizen are with a permanent threat that somebody can misuse your biological content in the country. So this organization is monitoring, in scanning every DNA sequence in every country to protect the same country for misuse or accidental catastrophe. So they are, in my opinion, seeding an idea of how give your DNA, your biological information, is going to be in order to protect you. But I think it has other agendas, and that could include cloning, I think.
Indeed. The other agendas are the things that worry me, and you're spot on about all that. And the thing, too, when you talk about like a world governance type of space, it basically means it doesn't have any jurisdiction over anything, because sovereign territories are like, thanks for the advice. We'll do what we want. Right. So, I mean, we're not there yet. We're just not there yet. We saw some weird stuff with the WHO, the World Health Organization, recently, and sort of that idea. I'm not going to relitigate that right now, but it's those organizations certainly have their place, but I don't think they have any sort of shock troops to come beat you down if you don't do the things you're supposed to be doing. So not that that's how everything needs to go, but me saying it means that that's the way the world works. Unfortunately. Sorry, go ahead.
I totally agree, because since yesterday in Santiago, here in Chile, in the capital, it's been is the Congress of Smart City Congress 2026, and Santiago is like this important city because it has many initiatives already taken place in this city, and after that city they will try to do it in other cities of this long country. But in the website, I'm going to pull out in the Discord chat also, they have content pillars, and the content pillars of this Congress is smart metropolis, data-driven city, 360-degree human security, smart mobility and sustainable habitat, urban metabolism and climate action, and digital ecosystems for people's Santiago, among other stuff that are going to be exposed. So to finish, I know you have other calls, but to finish, I think the biology and the DNA information of people will be collected with the narrative of security, and is going to be used for other purposes. So don't buy a baby Kramos, because it's going to be empty.
and strap on the tinfoil a little tighter, everybody. The wind is blowing. The wind is blowing. You're the best. Appreciate you, Kramos. Notables Radio, please give a follow. TroubledMinds.org/friends. Sorry, I dropped you down. I know you had something else to add there. Thank you for the call. The best to you and your family. TroubledMinds.org/friends. Scroll down just a little bit. Kramos, it's alphabetical there. Kramos right above my head there. Please click that. Go follow him in all the places. That's why we do this, to talk to each other, but then also to exhibit to the world what we're doing, what we're building, what we're creating. Not just me, you. Please follow our friends. Kramos is amazing. And shout out over there on Rumble. Is it Gordo? Somebody said that I've been seeing Kramos on many Rumble chats recently. Yeah, see? Because we're building a network in this space, in the mind space of the zeitgeist itself. We're sort of formulating. There's a term. There's like a when you're writing and there's like a perfect term and you just can't find it. You like sit on it for a second. So we're formulating It's right there. A mental bastion of collaboration or something. I don't know. It's right there. Like there's it drives me nuts when I have the perfect thing to say and then it kind of goes, it doesn't come out right. Like it drives me nuts. It's right there. I can't. Anyway, 702-857-6939. Stop it, Mike. Let's go to, I think Mephisto was first. Am I right? I think so. I think Jacob was first. Let's go to Jacob and then we'll go to Jen and Eric after that. Thanks for being patient, friends. Jacob. You're on Troubled Minds. Are you there, brother? Good evening. Hello. I cannot hear you. If you can hear me, great. Oh, I cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. Test. If you didn't update Discord, that's part of it. Okay. Come back. We'll get to you in a second. Let's go to Jen. Thanks for being patient, friends. And with the old technology space, we'll get back to you momentarily. Jacob, Jen in Missouri, the Arcane Observer. What's up? You're on Troubled Minds. How you doing tonight? How do you feel about cloning? Welcome.
Oh, you can hear me. I wasn't sure.
Loud and clear.
I don't know if it'll work.
Yeah, we're good. We hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah. So cloning in general. At first, I had some dreams a long time ago where like I'd be in a lab. It was a dream. I'd be in like a dressing gown or something. And I'd be laying on this bed. And it looked like a really weird hotel room. Not quite a hospital. More like a strange hotel room, kind of feeling. But almost like a hospital. Something, like it's hard to really pit, but so close. But it captured that perfectly. And there was like a single kind of rollaway bed you might see in a hospital, but kind of fancy, like you'd see in a hotel. I don't know how to explain that. Then there was another bed in there as well. So there were two of these single beds. That's why, and there was a bathroom, kind of like a hospital. It just reminded me of a hospital/hotel room. And like I say, so I was in this dressing gown and I wake up on one of those and I sit up and I turn my feet off the bed and I stand up and I turn around and look at the room and there's another version of myself laying in the bed I just got up out of. Like a perfect replica. It was so weird. And I was like, what? That is so weird. It was like a replica, if that's from Blade Runner or what, but like that was in my psyche. So I had this concept of this clone doppelganger effect a long time ago. And then I heard about Donald Marshall and he talked about all kinds of stuff, reptilians, all wrapped up in cloning and dreamscape. And it's really bizarre, everyone's heard of it, I'm sure. And like, it's just this, or maybe not, I don't know, but it's a really crazy concept. So then I was like, well, that's very interesting. So of course your mind's working on this and you start thinking about all the lores and everything else. But I want to come back around to the very basic of this and kind of draw it all back in to the facts and the truth. And that is that, when you're thinking about the complexity of a biological life form, us, that have come from the ice age and before that out of like the earth itself from volcanic, astral elements, and then like put together into a perfect organism that can survive the extremes of everything the world can throw at it. And I don't mean our world, like the wild, like pick a person up and drop them off in the middle of the ocean and you're designed to survive that somehow. You know what I mean? Like with the cleverness and everything of the being.
Yeah.
Or like say the forest or whatever.
Yeah.
So the body, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick, I would even say stardust, like even alien realms, if we don't instantly die and get choked out by chlorine gas or something, like we would adapt. We are adaptable. We are stardust. We are the cosmos inhabiting reality. I agree 100%. And it's incredible as a living organism that can see these things and articulate them on a live stream. It's wild. Here we are.
And then there's the idea that, so in transhumanism and eugenics, a lot of these ideas is about the prior species being insufficient, excuse me, for the future biological world. This sort of concept, like we came from evolution is what I'm trying to say. Like evolution is basically, it sounds and comes across that a prior species didn't make the cut, so then another, and yada yada. It's a very strange idea, and there's a lot of history behind it that's really interesting. But key to this is that in transhumanism, it's the preparation of for the past beings. Like we have we've been tasked to prepare vessels for the new species. Is like the transhumanism idea. We have an obligation in each prior, whether it's, the Dosivian or Neanderthal or however you say, all these different, I guess, race of man, supposedly. So it's just a bizarre idea. That's the transhumanism idea, is that we have we've been tasked by being inhabited by all this intelligence and everything. And I don't know if I believe that. I don't. But I do think that I know that we are made of what it takes. And then you're looking at the world we live in, and it's like a low voltage, I use that example, lamp, plugging into like a dynamic force. Like you're being tuned down. You were meant to be able to survive this insane, just, I don't know how to, brutal, ruthless, beautiful, the earth, the world we're living in. This body is made to like somehow survive that. The mind it's biologically formed for it, surviving illnesses, infections. And so, I don't know, it's much more complex than like the shell dies and that's it. There's some sort of intelligence to the very exact material of it. If you ever break it down to atoms and those biofields and everything, the idea that nothing is touching and it's just shaped out of that, and there's a density to it. In the science, it's the idea that, all of the matter of the universe has compacted into a density. There is nothing it just changes density. So would be what makes up the entire, thing. So I just think there's something about that as far as the soul being intermingled with, it's all like that,
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. When you talk,
great show.
Thank you. Great call. And when you talk metaphysics too, so did Dolly the sheep, cloned, have a soul, right? I mean, first you'd have to believe that animals have souls, but I mean, this is like the weird part of this discussion of the metaphysical aspect. And again, it just depends on what you believe. Like you don't have to believe, I don't have to believe. Just sort of like, hey, it seems as if it's diminished somehow. A clone would be diminished in some way or another. And we did a show on that kind of semi-recently in the past 6 months about I think they can clone the mice 46 generations or something like that, and then it stops and you're not able to do it anymore. So it feels like this stuff is kind of locked into, I don't know, maybe metaphysical rules. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I think it's tied into a clone eventually. Doesn't fit the biological world. It's being cloned. So if you have a generation of mice and then you have another generation of mice and you apply that to humanity, every single generation, kind of like a seedling or anything like that, it adapts to the dirt or the sounds or the environment, and it adapts so that it can continue to survive. In a clone theory, the thing can only last as the vessel cloned from the moment in time when it was extracted from the other, it ceases to experience new developments. It is merely a clone. It doesn't adapt. It can be taught to mentally outrun its course, but the material it's made out of, everything involved with it in a clone, the DNA in it, it would cease to continue to evolve due to its environment. You know what I mean? That's how the biological systems learn and adapt according to the environment. So that's why I think a clone system doesn't work, because it would have to be constantly upgraded continuously with new DNA introduced of, the typical species at the time existing in time. Because this planet used to be like a whole different planet. So, I mean, everything has evolved. I think evolved is wrong. I'd say adapt. You see what I'm saying? Like the species have all had to adapt in one way or another.
Yeah.
And a clone can't adapt.
Remains to be
That
seen.
level.
Remains to be seen. But
Who knows?
wait till we
Unless
have the
they
clones
do, right?
wandering around. I'm not refuting you.
Idea.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
transhumanism.
Exactly.
That it's well, no, it's not. It's not quite transhumanism. It's a theory that you see in a lot of different theories. You know, that we are like we've reached a point where we can create another biological life form that would be good enough to carry the species on forward. Or maybe we're having to adapt it to survive what's coming in the future. Maybe they have some unknown information, you know, they've gotten from the nether world or whatever. I don't know, but great topic. And cloning, yeah, it's cool.
Or no, right? No, you're not into that.
I think it has its place.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And I think as we continue to learn more, maybe, just maybe, it is the future. I mean, it's uncomfortable to suggest, but it may be the truth.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're
Have
the
a
best.
good night.
Appreciate the call. Jen in Missouri, the Arcane Observer. You know you love her. Please go follow her in all the places. TroubledMinds.org/friends. Scroll down just a little bit. It's alphabetical. It'll say follow Jen right there. Follow Jennifer right there. Click it. Also, she's follow salsidoparanormal.com, SALSIDO paranormal.com. She does a co-host with James on the weekends as well. So please go check her out over there. Lots of places. Look, this is what this is about. It's about getting together and talking about ideas, all manner of ideas. And look, are we wrong? I'm going to say, me personally, am I wrong about a lot of things? Yeah, you bet your ass. And I'm not scared to be wrong, nor should we be. We're supposed to be wrong. Because, of course, if you don't ask the wrong questions, how do you get to the right ones? I'm not a scientist. I'm not a philosopher. I'm not a clergyman. I'm just me. A complicated human living in a complicated time. And so some of these questions are my flare of the pen is not in sync tonight. 702-857-6939. Some of these questions are immense, and that's not the word I was looking for. And some nights you just are slightly off, just slightly out of phase. Like if I'm writing, I will sit there for 10 minutes and write the exact line that I want, like the exact 3 words that just punch in the face. And sometimes I can flow them out of my mouth, but tonight is not that night. We're talking cloning. How weird does it get? Are you into this? Is it the future? 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It is as easy as that. Thanks for being patient, friends. Jacob, what's up, brother? Got a couple hiccups and disconnects there. Test 1, 2. Are you there? You're on Troubled Minds.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Welcome, man. Thanks for fixing all the things. Glad to hear you. It's been a minute. Welcome back. What do you got for us tonight? Lots of ways to take this, as you know. Take it wherever you like.
I've always been kind of like 50-50 with the clone thing. I mean, one of my old bands was called Moon of Delirium. It was kind of influenced by the movie Moon, which is where, like, the Duncan Jones movie where this guy gets stuck on the moon. He finds out he's a clone and he's like stuck there. And he has this, you know, I feel that. I mean, maybe some of us would prefer that. Be like, hey, let me go fake my own death. You can lead my life. I'll go disappear and lead a new life, you know? Maybe it sounds ideal in some ways, you know? Maybe there's some benefits to that.
Yeah, I mean, I follow you. I won't be devil's advocate here, but I follow you. Like sort of a clean slate in a moment certainly seems appetizing. I'll give you that.
It seems like that's just pure science fiction right there. Like there's got to be someone. Maybe this has already happened where you're like, okay, maybe you're having stress, you're having problems with your old lady, or you're stressed out with your job, and you're like, you know what, I'm done. And then you meet your doppelganger. You're like, you convince this person to be like, hey, you want a chance? You want to come here? And you give them some beneficial, misleading put them in your situation, then you're like, okay, whatever. And then you just disappear. You're like, I'm going to go out for a pack of smokes. I'll be back. And you just don't come back,
That's a joke I always make. It's a bad joke, but hey, I'll say, if anybody ever said that to me, I'd be like, I'm going to go get some smokes. I'll be right back. I just won't come back.
No, I mean,
it's a bad joke.
There's a lot of things, I value, but sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you get pushed to the edge, right? Like whatever it means, and I mean it in a frivolous way. I don't mean it in like a life changing, like walk out on your wife way. That's not what I mean. Just but somebody's being a jerk. You're like, I'll be right back, and then you just don't come back. That's what I mean.
Sometimes you have a stressful day, and you're like trying to do good with your day, and then it just backfires. And you're just like, you know what? Take the keys. There you go. All you. And then you're like, I'm out.
Like I said,
or I'll go to the store, get some beer, and maybe I'll come back. I should come back, but maybe I won't.
Yeah, and a clean slate is appetizing, as I said.
So I think there's maybe some benefits to that. That's all I'm trying to say. It seems I don't want to do that, and I'm not trying to say I'm going there, but some of that seems appetizing in a way. Like maybe that's a route they need to explore for some of us. They were like stressed out or were looking for an exit. There might be some of us out there.
Yeah. Okay. So let me add to that. I think it's important to recognize that when we're talking about clones of ourselves, which is where this is headed, of course, it may not be now. We've seen anybody Star Wars fans out there, the Clone Wars. You saw that? Anybody seen that? They have like Boba Fett that they cloned him. He's like a kid, and he's like, they turn him all into those stormtroopers that can't shoot straight. Like there's a lesson there. All those stormtroopers can't shoot straight. There's a lesson there. And maybe, just maybe, it's because they're clones of something and they're derivatives of the divine form, right? And you know me, I'm not a religious guy, but I think invoking the term the divine form makes a lot of sense here, is that there may be derivative degradations in the sense of cloning and continuing that technology. So I don't know, man, but I feel you, and I'm just trying to say, hang in there, brother. You got what it takes to overcome whatever comes next. I have faith in that 100%. What else you got?
If I had the option to give one of my weird, stupid jobs that I hate to a clone, I mean, I might explore that opportunity. Be like, hey, this would be a good opportunity for you. Take it on, and I'm going to be like, go to the beach and get lost somewhere and enjoy that other potential alternative exit. Maybe I'm saying I hate my job, and I'm like, hey, what do you have going on in your life? This might be exciting for you, and I'm done. It's all you.
Yeah. But don't forget, those are all choices, right? And so, and this is, I say this, I'm a white pill guy. And I recognize you got to work, to feed yourself and keep the roof over your head and, keep the lights on at Troubled Minds or whatever, all the things, right? But also like if I'm at work and there's somebody bitching and moaning constantly, and I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm saying that how I manifest and invoke that, and I'm going to tell you this too, is that there are like 10 million jobs in this county. And if you don't like this one, maybe there's one you do like. See? So that new space, the clone space of the mind, of maybe there's your perfect spot out there. You just haven't found it yet. Is really my point.
Or maybe whatever ethical thing might be present here. Maybe he just wants to work my job that I absolutely hate, but I can still get paid for it. He doesn't know the concept, or maybe they understand the concept of that, but it doesn't really appeal to them, or it's not relevant to them. They're just like, oh, I'm going to clone. I can exist, and I'm not worried about monetary stress or whatever. And meanwhile, I'm like, I'll collect a paycheck for that, and I'll go do try to make myself happier,
Amen.
I'm into that. So
amen. 100%. And maybe that's the way of these Optimus robots, right? Like I said, you want to white pill the future. Maybe we get 3 Optimus robots that kind of make some money for us and, keep the roof over our head, and we do the basic maintenance, or maybe one's a maintenance bot. And then I don't know. Look, I'm a dreamer. And so I can kind of see the world in a bunch of different ways. And my alarm bells are ringing. My tinfoil is tingling because I don't know what the future brings. And so much is in motion, but I think for you, and I think for us generally, I think to recognize that maybe, just maybe, some of these changes will be good for many of us, but also any major change is not good for everybody. So keep your head on a swivel and keep your chin up and keep punching, brother. What else you got?
Work-life balance. That sounds like maybe a step in the right direction. If it's going to go, if AI is really trying to go out there, and it already is there in our face, like, hey, take over my stupid corporate job that I don't even like. So that's where I'm going with that.
Amen. I'm with you.
My boss doesn't have to know. You can just do your thing, and I'll just bow out respectfully.
Amen. It may be coming. If you guys are doing any kind of vibe coding out there, software's cooked. It is so cooked. so software's cooked. Customer service is cooked. Like if there's, I'm not going to be crude. There's some crude thoughts in my head, but I think it's going to turn quickly. I think in the next probably 3-ish years, we're going to have to have some major reforms, or else we're not going to make it, and we'll be burning down data centers. So my point is, there's a lot of changes coming. Hang in there. Look, I don't look. I'm fortunate to have the job I have. They treat me well. They pay me well, and I'm good at it. And for I get to have a lot of downtime, and it's good. It's good. I'm fortunate. I recognize that because I've had a ton of jobs I absolutely loathe. I cannot stand. The second I get out of there, I'm like taking off the uniform and trying to burn it in the street. But my point to you is hang in there because things are changing quickly. So, and it may get
for the better,
and it may get worse before it gets better. But hang in there because the storm is coming. That's the truth. You're the best, brother. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging in. Any new projects you're working on you can tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, I have some. I think I'm finally getting some music out there. I don't know. I always have something coming through. I'm like my own worst boss, whatever. You got to be disciplined about it. But maybe in the next few months, I might have some new music out there. Heavy, dark, and weird. And, I don't like heavy music. I try to. I do like some, but, it doesn't. I like messing with duality, dark and evil and melancholic. I love that. It puts me in my happy place. It's not for everybody, but some people like that,
Yeah. Amen. And I feel you. Like you I know you sense the darkness in me too. It's there, but I try and do my best to sort of combat it and bring a white pill mic to the space because I think it's important for us to recognize there is a counterbalance to that, the yin and the yang. And I appreciate you being in that mix with me in the yin and the yang. Always a pleasure, brother. Let me know when that new stuff hits. We'll share it in the Discord and all the places. And you're the best. Hang in there. Keep your chin up, man. And I appreciate the input.
All right, good talking to you, man.
You as well. Have a great night. Jacob Harsher Boy was his old name, and he's now Mephisto on the Discord. TroubledMinds.org. Click the friends link. Scroll down a little bit. It says follow Jacob right there. Bing. Check out his music. Talented guy, musician. Like it's not often you get people that dedicate their life to music. And he's got a flair for the dark, like he said, like it puts him in a happy place. So if you like the 7-string guitar and the artistic bit of that, I do appreciate it very much. I've never had a 7-string, but when I hear them, I instantly recognize, whoa, there's something going on. Please look, follow our friends, help our friends, go buy their music, go listen to the stuff. Sometimes you don't have to buy anything. You just press play and listen, and listens are good. Listens help and spread the word. Clones. Well, I don't know. I think maybe a song might be in order for cloning. We're talking about Bryan Johnson tonight. That's he claims he cloned himself to a newborn to grow organs after this incurable disease diagnosis. Like I said, it's not super dire. It's something many of us live with, an autoimmune gastritis diagnosis. But he used it to go viral on social media with this idea. I just cloned myself as a newborn. With this clone, I can become my own blood boy, test therapies on the clone, grow organs for transplantation, develop new treatments, inject young cells. And he continues on and on. Like I said, I'm not entirely sold. It feels a little bit sketchy. It feels a little bit like, if this is the future, we should all have our tinfoil strapped on tight. How do you feel about it? 702-857-6939. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. Appreciate all the calls tonight. Thanks for being cool and chill, staying up late with us and thinking about wild ideas as we do. Eric in Ohio. What's up, my man? What do you know about cloning? I hope you're well. Welcome. And take it wherever you like. I'm sure you got some interesting threads. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, Mr. Michael.
Hello. Good evening.
Hey, what's the worst job you ever had? You said you had a lot of jobs.
Not a lot, really. I was a retail manager once at I won't say the store, but it's a big box store. It's like $65 million a year. It was like gross volume. It was a lot. It was a pain in the ass. And it taught me a lot about people. It taught me a lot about managing myself, discipline, and helping other people, even outside of sort of the company ethos. It taught me a lot. Like I wouldn't trade it for anything because it's very much a part of who I am. However, going back to that space, oh dear Lord, hell no. It's a triple hell no. No, that's not one of the places you want to be in. And I warned you off that, by the way. You were kind of you were considering a few different type of employments, and I was like, bro, don't even look at that one. That is not
considering the Waffle House or something.
No, don't do that. 24 hours a day, brother. Don't touch that one with a 10-foot pole. Hell no. And there's, unless you're going to start a YouTube channel, record the fights that go on there at like 3 a.m. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead. Welcome. What do you got for us?
So for as far as cloning goes, like modern cloning techniques, they're just to make sure that no one's thinking this. If you cloned yourself today, the clone definitely would not have your memories and experiences. All of people's memories and experiences are external stimuli that happens through the course of the linear time of their life. And anytime you have an external sensory input, there's a combination of serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins that in some level are going to allow you to form a memory or not form a memory. And if you do form a memory, there's going to be accidental transport happening inside your brain to literally lay down the synapses that forms the memory and connects it to the neuronode. So it's like you have to have the experience, and then these chemicals have to fire, and then there's got to be a connection that's physically built. It's the same process when you get muscle memory and learning a musical instrument. At some point, when you've got that muscle memory, it's because you've built the synapses. The hardware has been built. You were moved enough by the experience of making music that your brain said, okay, let's hardwire him to do this. I dropped a link for you for the axonomal transport. And cloning today, man, is very, very similar to what Dr. David Sinclair is doing in his lab and with the new company that he has created called Lifespan. And basically, this company has been able to use 3 out of 4 what is called these generic, it's genetics that work on aging, and it's epigenetics specifically that they are working with, which epigenetics is the idea of turning on and turning on off a gene, being able to make stem cells. So they've just went into human trials with this, and they've been cleared to do eyes, because eyes are typically separated from the rest of the body, biologically speaking, and is a really good self-contained organ to be working on if you're doing experimental things. And these 4 factors are called Yamanaka factors. And they are manipulating 3 out of 4 of these, because if you manipulate 4 of them, you get cancer every time. So they've figured out if they're only working with 3 of them, it's not as difficult to reverse aging. And so they're targeting particular types of cells, like liver cells, brain cells, skin cells, eye cells, or whatever the cells are, and they're able to send this product in with a delivery system that rewrites the programming of the DNA and tells it to create what is essentially stem cells, the very first cells that you get when you're born that starts the chain reaction in the first place. And basically aging is your cells no longer being able to reproduce that same programming that they started with accurately for a number of reasons that this could happen. But aging, part of aging is the idea of free radicals punching holes through cellular structures, right? So at the very least, there's this degradation, and these cells never get renewed in that sense. So they're just copies of copies. So this cloning technique uses that same life extending technique to create stem cells or organs or whatever it would be that would be needed. And if you had a clone, it'd be like having a twin, right? Whatever that person went through in its life, unless it was really like on Blade Runner, where you could literally feed these replicants memory after they were created. It would be like a twin, right? Like it wouldn't have your memories, it wouldn't have your experience, it wouldn't even have your knowledge. It would have to start off as a blank and be trained. And a part of this has happened at least probably 7 or 8 years ago, when there were Nobel Prizes given out for clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats. You may remember palindromes being words like radar or mom. They're spelled the same forward as they are backwards, but clustered, regularly interspersed, short palindromic repeats is CRISPR, and people have already been given Nobel Prizes for developing CRISPR, and CRISPR is a tool that you can go into the epigenetics or the deoxyribonucleic acid, the DNA, and actually turn things on or off, or slice things in or out, or add or take away things. So in the last 10 years, the ability to turn genes on and off and to slice them in and out has went beyond anything that we've ever seen before, to the point to where there's no legal legislation that's kept up with it. Much like with AI advancing so quickly, the implications and ethics of probable consciousness, whether it exists or not, is far beyond the reach of any type of law that's on the books at the moment. So at least up till 3 years ago, you could order CRISPR through the mail and actually inject yourself with various types of genes, and there was nothing illegal about it. Now, I don't know if they've closed that loophole in the last 3 years, because I haven't been ordering genes to inject myself, but I've done some podcasts on it in the past, and it was a little crazy.
A little crazy. I've seen some people doing that on YouTube. They're like, it's like the next level YouTube, the cutting edge. Like, I ordered this CRISPR kit online. I'm going to inject myself on a YouTube video.
I got a great gene hack online for $50, man.
Dear God. Yeah. How could this go wrong? Yeah. I mean, cool. but also, by the way, it's basically equivalent to, I'm going to put myself on a shopping cart on the roof and then push myself into a busy road and then record it all. I mean, it's basically the same thing. So, I mean, here we are.
Yeah.
I don't recommend any of that, by the way. I don't recommend any of that. All the disclaimers apply. No truth to be found here. All the things we're talking about are making fun of these ideas. Like, don't hurt yourself for attention. Please don't do that. That's horrible. Don't do that. Sorry, go ahead.
But it is the world that we live in. These things do exist. This company called Lifespan does exist, and the guy who runs it which is his name. What was his name again? Dr. Livingston, was it? Can't remember now.
Which guy? I don't even know.
The guy that did Lifespan.
I don't know. It's too late in the night for me
Dr. Sinclair.
Okay, Sinclair. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like we literally have figured out ways to reverse aging, and the only thing in question in terms of the lab, not like FDA approved things, but the only thing in question in terms of their lab is the delivery system. Right now, every different part of the body, skin, eyes, liver, brain, whatever it is going to need a different delivery system. And they've been working that out. But what they're working on now is trying to have one that is just one delivery system. You take one pill or injection of this process and it goes to all the points needed and rewrites the programming of all the cells of your body, not just one type of cell. But they haven't figured out how to do that yet. But literally, we are in human testing for working on eyes and such. And so we're on the edge for sure of extending the lifespan of cloning. And again, not much difference between those two sciences, right? Like if your eyes are bad and you're blind and they tell you, well, we can just, reclone your eyes or rebuild them with stem cells with this pill or this injection, that's not much difference. And there's no rejection because it's actually your own stem cells. So it's the question really is going to be an ethical question, right? Like who gets this? How much does it cost? Does just the elite get this? Does just important people get it? Does anyone get it? And then we have population issues and problems. How are we going to deal with this? But these kinds of questions are the exact same kind of questions we're dealing with all of the edge frontier science that we're working on, from the new nuclear devices that we have to AI to, really everything that's going on. We're on the edge of a paradigm shift, and a lot of the things that we thought possible, just like at the turn of the 19th century, so much was happening and so much was changing. It's happening again at just a little later than the turn of the century, but it's definitely happening again. So it's going to be definitely tighten down your tinfoil hats, grab your popcorn, hug the person next to you, and smoke your joint.
Yeah, and exactly. Double layer the tinfoil, in my opinion. And it's weird. Do you think that? So you're of my age range ish, or Generation X. Do you think that this is the singularity? Do you think we're toes in the ocean of what comes next, and it's going to accelerate so quickly that we'll see this turn dramatically in our lifetime? Or do you think that's more like 20, 30 years out type of thing?
I don't know about my particular lifetime. I'm 56, so I'm definitely on the bottom end of counting years down. And I think for someone who's maybe in their 20s, they're going to see it, right? They're going to see artificial intelligence be able to be merged with robotics. They're going to be able to see the finer emergent qualities that epigenetics will yield, that CRISPR will yield, that this cloning techniques will yield. All of these things are going to come to a point when we've never ever backed away from any science that we've ever experimented with. I mean, I think I've said before, like when they were considering testing the first nuclear bomb, there was a concern that this would be a chain reaction and that the entire atmosphere of the planet potentially could vaporize in this chain reaction. And they said at some point, well, we need to do this. Yeah, we need to do this no matter what. We need to have this. We need to win this war. We need to have this technology. And so they did it. They went ahead with the test. When CRISPR first came out, it was illegal for anyone to use it on humans, and a guy from China went into international waters and used it, and then another on these two twins. You can look this stuff up, right? To change their genetics. So I mean, and then later on, somebody did it with monkeys by turning on a gene that's in humans that's closely associated with language, right? So whatever the new thing is, someone somewhere is going to have the ability to say, yeah, go ahead and do the thing. Just keep it under cover for the moment. It's insatiable, the desire in humans to have power, to control and to dominate. And so I do. I think we're on the precipice of having a paradigm shift in what we consider to be living or reality. I heard someone speak of transhumanism earlier, and I've always thought that that's probably the best hope. Like, the change is going to come. I don't think anyone's going to step back and say, wow, we better quit making the planet warmer. We better quit using fossil fuels. We better quit they've always just went further with it. So, yeah, I think it will come, but I don't know if I will see it, but I'm sure a couple of generations past me will see it and have to deal with it, and it will be a new way of life. And I think, though, that life will continue. It's just going to be different, like it's always been different. I mean, if you took somebody from ancient times and brought them to modern times, imagine how that would affect them psychologically. I imagine we would suffer the same sort of psychological future shock if we were brought, 1,000 years into the future that we're from where we're at now. It makes me happy I have a temporary lifespan, because if I was an immortal being, I'm not sure my psychological foundation would be able to handle such rapid change. Because the change is like Moore's law, right? It continues to increase and then pound upon itself, but biology still crawls along at its ever slow evolving pace that it always has. So in this very short span of time, people used to live 33 years. Now we're living into our 80s and stuff, right? And along with having longer lifespans, there's this increase in technology and science and all of these communications and stuff. So it's like, I can imagine it causing a lot of psychosis if you were to live past a normal lifespan.
Yeah, it's like I bring this up often when we talk about sort of the longevity aspect of humans. Like, we aren't built for this. It's not baked into us. And if you look at the modern lifestyle, all the mass information flowing to us from the media and whatnot, like we are, the old meme or the joke is that we were built to like sort of hide in caves at night and then come out when the sun came up. Like our mind is not built to process all this information. Though we are adaptable, though we are, doing our best in the space, but I mean, it really kind of throws the cosmic boomerang into the earth of chaos theory. Is that everybody's trying to figure all the shit out, and it's impossible to figure all the shit out. And so here we are, like, what comes next? Like you said, strap on the tinfoil, buckle up, and make sure you got at least somebody to hug as the roller coaster goes down. Because I'm telling you what, we are moving into a precarious space. But I think this could be said of like the Renaissance. This could be said of the Dark Ages. This could be said of like many different, the printing press, like all these different like sort of innovations that we were not prepared for. And so I'm not saying directly one for one, because of course this is an acceleration. But I mean, look, we're processing it well. I mean, you seem to be processing it well. I seem to be processing it well, right? I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are like, hey, let's see what tomorrow brings. Who really knows? But you get what I mean, though. We are so adaptable that even with all that said, that we're still finding a way to kind of skirt the doom. I don't know.
The division in the gap is getting longer, unfortunately. I mean, there are still people who are surfing on the edge of this technology wave and these changes, but there's a lot more people falling behind too. And if you think about even our own ability to keep up with things is drastically behind. If you look at the most icons on computers, when you hit a save button, the icon that represents the save button probably looks like the old 3.5 double density disk.
Which
something that which not even in use anymore.
Most whippersnappers don't even know what that is.
Yeah, right. And I actually had one kid, when I showed him what it looked like, he asked me if I 3D printed it. And I said no, it was a medium. Or even the microphone icon on a lot of software, right, looks older than any mics that we actually have. So the whole idea of even the iconography that we have doesn't keep up with where we're at technologically speaking. It keeps leaping and bounding ahead of what we're able to actually keep up with and understand. We have to understand that that's just a symbol and a metaphoric thing that represents something else that's now changed if we're on that edge, right? So it's not surprising that people fall behind, because there's not a whole lot keeping everyone up to date that you can look around and see and access. So I think that gap is getting bigger, and I think that that's something that we've seen an axis in politics, which I rarely talk about, but when you start seeing them back things like the Stargate project, you can see that it's something that they don't fully understand, but that they want it. They're not sure what it is, but they're willing to back it because it seems like it would be a really good thing to have. So it's like you have this techno elite that occurs where it doesn't matter if you're talking about the technology of biology or the technology of consciousness or the technology of technology, that the upper echelons of the access to that is starting to be taken away from just everyone. As you know, even things like Fable 5 has been restricted, and then now is something you've got to pay for and stuff. There's starting to be a division with the technology. It's become so permeable and so ubiquitous that you can start to see it separate from the substrate of what normal life is and be above into this technocratic world that we either don't have access to or have to pay to have access to. Like any gatekeeping, you have to be in that spot, know someone, or be able to pay into it. An old story for sure, but also a sure sign that these technologies that we're talking about, like cloning, is moving in so rapidly and so realistically that the foundation for them to already be beyond our reach is starting to be formed.
Yeah. And welcome to it. I mean, just in our lifetime, boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. When I was a kid, there's none of this stuff.
None of this stuff. Like I used to spend like Saturday and Sunday afternoons when I wasn't in school, like laying on a fuzzy 70s outdated carpet, reading encyclopedias. because there was
like you had access.
Exactly.
Like 5 out of how many volumes there were.
Exactly. Right.
I got N through P, so right. I know a lot about N through P.
Exactly. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, exactly. And so we didn't have it actually. We didn't have that. In my home, we had that in my grandparents' home. They had like the entire encyclopedia set, like all the way through, and then like the appendices and some like different dates and stuff, almost like, kind of like the history stuff. And so I was blessed, and not recognizing it, but I mean, it drew me. Like knowledge drew me then, and I was very young. We're talking like I was like 7 or something. I mean, but I'm, like I wore out, I've said this before, I wore out the dinosaurs page. I wanted to know all there was to know about dinosaurs when I was 7, but a page or two, like there was, funny enough, like back in, so if I was 7, it's 1982. Back in 1982, even the stuff we knew about dinosaurs was kind of antiquated by modern standards anyway. So, I mean,
yeah. I mean, in a way, it's cool because you can start with science back when you were younger, and there's a foundation that is still there even if things change. Even though we find out different things, it doesn't change so drastically that it invalidated the idea of whatever stimulated you in the first place. And so, yeah, it's definitely a journey. But the idea of, I mean, that used to be really an isolated thing. Like, you used to have to work hard to find anything, to find information on UFOs, to find information on science, to find information on anything. To get music, you had to figure out, well, okay, I got to get some currency together. I've got to find a way to get a ride to where this thing is at. I've got to hope that they have it, or I got to order it out of a book, and then I have to wait for it. It's like you had so much to arrange just to get even a novel, a book. Like, you had to figure out, like, okay, I got to get to the library, or I got to get to wherever and pay the money. Everything was an effort, man. Whatever your heart desired and stimulated you, you had to work for it a little bit. And now stuff is so easy. You can just pull the music out of the air. You can pull the books out of the air. You can pull the information out of the air. You can go to places where Wi-Fi is free if you don't have it. I mean, people are dying to tell you what the secret is, whatever it is. The new science, the new politics. There's people competing to get it across your face. And you don't have to work at all. You have to work now to
avoid it,
to filter it out. Yeah,
exactly.
It's like it's too much.
You don't even have to have
weird, man.
It's super weird. You don't even have to have like a home to charge your device. Like, there's you can go down to some random building that has a plug outside and just be like, boop, charge.
Yeah.
It's absolutely wild. Yeah, go ahead.
It's kind of like a golden age. I mean, it's, so much is available and free. It's kind of like a golden age in a way, but if that kind of a thing doesn't just show you how weird the arrow of time is and how the flow of things go and how stuff just pushes along, almost seemingly effortlessly. I mean, it's a great thing, right? If we lived in a simulation, it would seemingly be doing its job, because it goes on and it gets exponential and things do happen. And, it's just like, programming used to be punch cards, right? And now you're like, look, I'm doing this in my office or my bedroom, and now I'm going to put people out of business. I don't buy software anymore because I write it for what I need. It's like, it's a change that's so subtle that some people don't even realize that it's happened, or that it can happen, or that they can do it. Like, the only thing that's keeping the secret in the box is just, honestly, enough people either don't care or don't know, or never had a use for it to begin with, right? But for the people who are spending lots of money to have the software that they needed, have to struggle with the learning curve of learning that software, to be able to build your own, is a paradigm shift, dude. And once it becomes so easy, and I've seen it get easier every month.
It is.
Yeah, once it gets to the point where you're just telling something, hey, do math, do this thing, whip this up for me, make this thing for me, and it happens, and it's good on the first gate, then yeah, it's done. Like, there's no,
even a second or third pass is ridiculous. Yeah. Like in the old days, you would have to pay somebody tens of thousands of dollars to do that. Now you're like, you got a cursor subscription for $20 a month, and it's doing tens of thousands of dollars of work. It's crazy. Look, it is so good. Like, and I might do this as just a goofy, not a show off thing, but not for myself, but for like the way this technology has come, to maybe have like a screen up while we're doing this show where I'm literally developing a website from scratch. Like, when we start to when we finish this show, like, I don't know, like kind of a new frivolous idea or whatever, you throw it up and then you got the domain, and then it builds, like, you literally just write the command and tell it what you want, and it like does it. And then you come back and double check it, and you're like, okay, this and this needs to be changed. And then it's the craziest thing ever. If you guys are into software, you already know, probably. If you're not into software, you're like, this guy's an idiot. I promise you, I'm not an idiot. I'm not an idiot. No, I'm not an idiot.
Music already went through this process, man. Music went from something that you had to have a physical instrument of some kind. You had to have somebody show you how to use it or spend time with it. And then you had to meet up with other people that were able to do the same thing and had that same talent and form a band to create music. And that went from that state to now being able to do all of that in your bedroom, in your spare time. And there's always this resentfulness to it, right? Where real musicians is like, yeah, but you're just pressing a button, right? That's all you're doing is press. You don't really know what you're doing, right?
Well, like the modern synthesizers, like the Korg M1 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with nowadays with coding, right? Real coders are going to tell you, yeah, but you don't really know what you're doing. You're not really coding. You're just having this thing do it for you. And while that might be true on some level in each case, it doesn't mean that you're not able to create something with it that people will enjoy and pay money for, which has happened with my music, and I'm sure would happen with certain software that we develop, right? It turns out it's not a matter of the price that you pay for the art. It's the end result. It's like if you're making something that someone values or needs, that's the thing that's going to move this forward. That's why it's not going to go left or stale, and it's going to continue to grow because they keep making it better. And I don't know. I'm not trying to judge it or nothing. I mean, obviously, I love to have the control and the power to forge my own destiny in certain instances, right? Like I'm making my own VSTs and I enjoy that. But is it important? Am I missing something? I don't know. I've actually played real instruments and stuff as well, and I've enjoyed both immensely. So I can't say one trumps the other, right? But one is certainly more convenient and produces more results and gets me way further than the other one does.
Because of the time factor, because we only have so much time, and that becomes the thing, right? So do I learn to play a dulcimer and go buy one? or do I?
Well, time of people, right? A lot of things are dependent upon other people that you need to do. I mean, even businesses are starting to be easier to manage for one person because of AI. It's a little bit easier to design and to get websites out and to get the word out and stuff without having to pay someone or tackle something that you don't understand or would have to learn. It's allowing people who don't have the money to compete in modern business practices to step up and be able to do that, like you just said, with a $20 subscription here or there, like having Netflix and Paramount and whatever. You could be designing your own business, putting up a website, putting product up, and generating email and this sort of thing. It's just a matter of that's what you want to do or not. It's an option. I mean, I don't think anybody is forcing anyone to utilize these tools and do anything. And I think people still appreciate that there are places that you can go that don't involve these things, like mom and pop shops down the road. I think those are still important. I see, at least in my hometown, when we celebrated our anniversary and all this for the United States, there was whole areas that were shut off. The whole summer, right outside my door, they've had concerts and bands and speakers and stuff almost every day. I mean, just staying up late's crazy because by 11 there'll be something happening out there in the town. So I don't think it's something that's taking over. I just think it's something that's maturing and that's an option, and people are coming to grips with in terms of how much attention should I pay to this? How much money should I put into this? Does it matter?
Agreed. And you can just do things now. And that's the important part of this. I mean, like I said, I've built so many things that have made my workflows easier for troubled minds, that have sort of consolidated tons of stuff that, I mean, look, speaking of which, shameless plug. You see the background there? You see the lights fading and glowing and moving and changing. It's an animated background, but it's very subtle. And you bet your ass, I found a way to sell it. I found a way to create these things. Livingbackdrops.net. So I'm creating all kinds of amazing things. And the deal is, I found this as it was like an area that had really not been touched. I mean, eventually it may become obsolete, and that may be 6 months from now. But I'm like, hey, you know what? Like these weird static AI things that are being made, or these weird video backgrounds, are just goofy and stupid looking. Hey, I started with that Egypt one, that backdrop that I used a few weeks back. But anyway, like, if you're into software, go build some stuff. Go check it out. Go check out Claude. Go check out Cursor. Go check these things out. It's the world has changed so fast, incredibly fast, and that's the point. Is that I don't think we should be afraid. I think we should be curious. I think we should be forward thinking and recognize that maybe some of the dreams that you had maybe years ago are now easily done. That's all. That's what I got. You're the best, brother. Appreciate you staying up late with us. Hope everything is well with you in the job. Job okay? Everything, are you being treated well?
Oh yeah. Everything's just grandidocious. Hey man, I just wanted to say too, build worlds. Like, you don't even have to be involved in AI. Get an RPG like Dungeons and Dragons or some other one. There's a whole bunch out there, any genre, and they don't take electricity and they don't need updating and they don't run on batteries. And if the electric goes off at your house and you got some candles, you can actually play this whole game and this whole system all night if you want to. And if you get involved in any RPG, it will teach you how to build worlds and how to tell stories. And it's a way of building something and doing something, and it doesn't have anything to do with technology or the future or forward thinking. It's all about sitting around the campfire and telling a collaborative story and having some fun. So check that out too, man. I mean, if it's not convincing to sell your soul to the AI Satan, then there's always the RPG realm.
Hey, building worlds is what it's always been about anyway. Like I've always said, it's all narratives. And so if you can build a compelling narrative, then you're doing God's work. And I mean that small g God. Like you're doing God's work in the space of what humans need. It's what we've always needed. It is the oral tradition, except it is now in the digital space. Absolutely. You are completely right.
That's all I got, man. I just wanted to make sure I got that in.
Appreciate you. You are the absolute best. Thank you for all the people dropping Eric's links in the chat. You know what to do. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit. It's alphabetical, and it's follow Eric in Ohio. And yeah, simple. Click that right there, and he's got a link tree of all the things. Any new projects we should know about coming up, or do you just being a human in the AI space?
No, man, I put a couple of projects on hold so I could review some code that I did for Perion and for Kairos, which we had done shows on. Just wanted to make sure that things were smoothed out and everything worked really well. And so I've been going back and just double checking the code and stuff. But then I'm going to go back to working on NOS, which is a 10-dimensional hyper-dimensional computing. I'm trying to teach a synthesizer how to understand what sound is. Instead of, it's like a large language model, but instead of feeding it an encyclopedia to training it, I'm feeding it a whole bunch of sounds that I already did a taxonomy on. Like, hey, this is bright, this is warm, this is transient. Now learn what this is, and now let me see if you can actually reproduce this in the way that language models reproduce the next word, to make it so convincing and compelling. So I'm kind of working on that, but I've been working on that since April, like months, man. Like it just a long time. It's
funny
project.
Yeah, it's funny. The AI coding space is like this. Like 15 years ago, I had 3 projects I never finished. Now I have 50 that I haven't finished.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. You're like, damn. Programmer. Yeah, exactly. I'm not kidding you. So once we shut down tonight, I could get a new domain name and I could have a prototype by the time I go to bed. Like, this is how fast this shit works. And then over the next course of the
tangerines in an hour.
Yeah, exactly. It like that. This is how crazy it is. So again, if you don't want to feed the AI demons, there are a lot of ways, as Eric said, to kind of look into this, but I'm telling you, we're moving fast. The world's moving fast, and that's what this is all about. Appreciate you very much, brother. Godspeed and all the things. We'll talk to you soon. I appreciate you and have a great night.
Bye.
You know him, you love him. Eric in Ohio, troubledminds.org. Thank you to Sweets and Gordo and all the rest of the mods and all the places for dropping Eric's links there. Let's help each other. While that's on the top of our mind, troubledminds.org/friends. Help our friends. That's what this has always been about. Look, it's been about a conversation, the great conversation, I like to call this. And beyond that, it's about people talking to people. You see? Like the dream is real. Like I said, if you guys try and build something from zero, it is ridiculously hard. Here we are. A great conversation happening. Yeah, right? Let's see. Hold on. Let's get this one. Oh, no, what? That one? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. If you want to help us, help our friends. troubledminds.org/friends. A lot of people there. It's not just me. I always say this, and it's true. Troubled minds, plural. It's like the snake. Plural. Help our friends. If you want to help us directly, spread the word. Let people know a conversation is happening where we're not going to tell you who to vote for. We're not going to do their narratives. We're going to do other interesting things that the human mind space needs. And you know how I know? You know how I know? Because I need it. That's how I know. Ask yourself why you keep coming back. Ask yourself. Because it's real? Because it's organic? Because it's people? Because even despite all the AI stuff that I use and do, it's still organic? Yeah. There's something special here. So thank you, each and every one of you, for being part of it. You guys are incredible. Thanks for all the ideas. Thanks for caring about the conversations. Thanks for being nice to each other in the chat. Thanks for supporting each other in all the spaces. That's it. Like I said, try and do a thing. It's hard. It's hard. And so we've achieved a hard thing. So what comes next? Not just for me, but for you. Think about it. May you live in interesting times. I think that's a fact, because absolutely we do. Which keywords did we miss? Tartaria. What we miss? Fed, PSYOP. Don't make me say gay. I just said it. It's a word game we play over on Rumble. If you haven't joined the Rumble chat, please do that. By the way, feedback on merging all the chats. I think the technology exists now. We can merge all the chats, so Rumble is now commingled with all the things. I don't know. You guys tell me. That's it. I don't know. We got the Dream Show coming up. I don't know if I'm going to do that this next one. I found this one tonight. I heard that guy Eric Erickson on the radio today talking about it, and I was like, I think we need to talk about this. The abomination of living forever. Because I think it might be. I think it might be. Anyway, if you want to help us directly, spread the word. Troubledfans.com. Buy the merch, all the things, the shirts and the hats and the mugs and whatever. More important that you, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the ideas. And thank you for considering that the world is a complicated place and we're here to navigate it together. As we finish, this one goes out to each and every one of you. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.